Having a reunion tour. Yeah. I'm here. You're so hot. I love you. You're hottie. It's just the like trying to walk sideways while in backpack. No. Oh. I've never. I feel my students right before they vomit on a desk. You know, like oh my god. So you do that? You will. Yeah. I'm gonna real habit of just like student be like literally inside of your stage. That it's not real though. We're doing it just for funsies. And I'm like, dude, on the floor. I said that's actually biological work. Like, dude, they'll put their hands just beside you. But we're not working for it. You guys, you were finally convention, man. What do you mean? Oh, thank you. If I'm speaking violently, just know that it's not your voice. Are you sure about that? Yeah. It's more in here when I so I don't, you know. Yeah. But I mean, I don't want to sit down yet. I feel like I'm sealing myself into something once I sit. I mean, baby. I know, right?
Hello.
I think that's I'm just here. Our kids are bringing out time. I was just like waiting. Yeah, I did too. I'm gonna
Hello. Hello. Hello.
I try to think of the stuff on it. And I confirm them after like our That's a really good thing to get it right now.
Hello.
Yeah, those things will give you energy, and this will give you energy.
Hello. Hello. What? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, the speaker.
Hello. Hello.
I understand why you need it, so I'm trying to explain.
Oh, yeah, okay, thank you.
And I was like. Start.
No, I understand. That's great news.
That's. I want it in the same weird camo as the Midwest Princess hat. Oh, that is perfect. I just got out of class.
Okay, that's the shiny authority.
Yeah, the last one, you know, it's only been 20 years. Isn't that crazy? That's, and that, like, yeah, 8 dinners in class. I had a routine. What if I throw back? I stay back. If I throw up now. I don't know who would like this. When I do. Thinking about that. No, I don't. Yeah, no. I believe I know. When it comes to you know, my son is smiling. Me and my mom. Yeah. You gotta take a candid. Okay. He hates it. Yeah, I do. You don't know. And tell them. It's not happening.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
Okay. I'm speaking for. Yeah, I'm speaking on behalf of.
Sorry.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming to the Student Senate Business Meeting. For everyone that is here today, please check in the front of the auditorium. Please check in, everyone. We will be starting soon. We will all be starting soon.
I don't know.
Got it.
Oh. Yeah, check-ins down. Check-ins down around the front doors. Chloe's. So sorry. I'd rather. Actually.
It's not for legal purposes, this is great. I know. I spent my whole life. You all learn best behavior, so it's like, fuck yeah. Once I'm locked out of my garage. No more. No more. I'm saying, I'm afraid. Hey, don't say French. I actually wore my outfit to go after and I said, like, it's on my shirt says. Yeah, yeah, that's a real, like, right. Also, everything about it, it's like, that. Also, then we're gonna run out of hands. No, wait it out. Yeah. I hope she thinks that's. No, I can't. We don't want to. I know it's not now.
Like the experience. I think
That'd be great. Yeah, yeah. This is something.
I guess.
Yeah. I actually just need to verbally say it before we get started. That's weird.
I got you.
I want to hear it.
You've got to be able to run out.
Oh my God. Please clap. Eva, you're not allowed to be the center. Yeah, you gotta go to the right side. Oh, right. Yeah. Finish. I'm not giving you my signature.
Order for the Student Senate Business Meeting, Thursday, November 7th at 7 p.m. in Memo Hall 113. Our Director of Administration, Kelly Gonzalez, will be doing roll call.
Alrighty. Regent Adidam,
Here.
Vice President Ramirez,
Here.
Chief Ostick, Director Nguyen, Director Lysy,
Here.
Director Lasso,
Here.
Director Mai,
Here.
Director Hammond. That's right. Coordinator Irizarry Gums,
Here.
Senator El Roxy, Senator Norby, Senator Jimenez Avalos, Senator Calderon Palacios,
Here.
Senator Benitez,
Here.
Senator John,
Here.
Senator Brady,
Here.
Senator Gomez, Senator Hirschbaum Harding,
Here.
Senator Smith, Senator Rangel,
Here.
Senator Vaughn,
Here.
Senator Rye,
Here.
Senator Valladares,
Here.
Senator Piper,
Here.
Senator Lopez,
Here.
Senator John Talpor, Ambassador Ellery Fay, Senator Eyeshide.
Here.
Sorry, Ambassador. Thank you.
Awesome. For our first item of business is the reading and approval of old minutes. Is there any discussions on the old minutes from October 24th? If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the previous minutes has been adopted. Now, we're on to a period of approving the agenda. Is there any discussion on the agenda? If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the agenda has been approved. Now we're on to open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum? Please come one at a time, and please also use the microphone just because we are live streaming. So if there's a microphone.
Taking a line down the left of your page.
Oh wait, so you can use. For open forum, we do have 45 minutes for open forum, and then each member has 10 minutes to speak. It can be extended through a simple majority vote by the student senate.
Oh, sorry, before we get started, I'll be serving as the parliamentarian today, so just so you senators know.
Okay, hi everybody. So if you guys don't know me, I'm Senator Piper for the College of Public Affairs and Community Service, and I just kind of wanted to start open forum today with a brief message for everyone. I think everybody in the room feels some type of way about everything that's going on right now in general. So I just wanted to say, like, be kind to everyone tonight. Everyone is grieving in some way, shape, or form. And a lot has happened within the last couple of days and the last couple of weeks at the least. So please take care of yourself tonight and take breaks when needed, call for breaks when needed. And just remember that we are all humans at the end of the day and we all deserve a little kindness. So yeah, with that being said, please show your emotions, feel your emotions. It's very important tonight. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Kammerer. I am a former director of QTS. For those of y'all that don't know, I've been up here a few different times. So I'm talking about the defunding of the student agencies. I've had the displeasure of going through this is the third one, I think. Not defunding of student agencies, but just unilateral, instantaneous decisions that the administration does that shakes up student life. It's mind-boggling to me how the administration can run an organization this way. So it is the middle of the fiscal year, the middle of the semester. The directors got no information that the defunding was even happening, or the audit for that matter. We had to rely on the rumor mill, Instagram. They told us nothing. We didn't even get a chance to come back into compliance for whatever policy violation there was. So even if the defunding is and the policy violation is correct, it was done in the worst way possible for both the reputation of the school and the morale of the students. But second of all, the decision's bullshit. Sorry. In the Board of Regents policy, it says that student agencies, it's only one sentence that's relevant, by the way. It says that student agencies should support a broad-based student population. The oddest reasoning is that the 6 agencies that were defunded cater to a subset of the student population and therefore do not serve a broad enough base. The problem is the policy never defines how broad of a base it's supposed to be. And frankly, QTS serves multiple different identities of students. WGEC serves women. That's half the student population. I feel like that's a broad base. They serve students from Information Science and Technology Department, from the College of Arts and Sciences, from every single college. These agencies serve students in underserved populations. So yes, these student agencies do serve a broad base of the student population, and the decision's shit. Lastly, I'm going to try and make this quick. I apologize. When Jessie Hitchens got fired, she was the director of the GSRC and the advisor for QTS. When she got fired, it was the same way. We knew nothing. Just one day, we don't have an advisor, and we have to do financial things and figure out how to run our organization without the staff liaison that we had. There was no information. When I went up to Kathy's office and had a meeting with her, she told me to my face she had no intention of defunding QTS. Look where we are now.
Okay, cool. For those of you who don't know me, I go by Aziria. I am a board member with QTS. I've prepared a speech. The Gender and Sexuality Resource Center, Multicultural Affairs, American Multicultural Students, First Generation Student Agency, International Student Agency, Network for Disability Awareness, and the Women and Gender Equity Center. One might notice a similarity about these organizations. They're all organizations pushing for diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're also the organizations which UNO is actively attempting to remove, and where they can't remove directly, they're attempting to obscure. The GSRC and the MCA, without any warning or advance notice, were disbanded with many staff let go. They were unceremoniously incorporated into SLII, but the student body wasn't properly informed of this. To this day, the majority of people I've talked to still think the GSRC disappeared entirely, and the university has done very little, if anything at all, to combat this problem. It's very hard to think that this wasn't done intentionally, to obscure these services from the public eye, to obscure these services from the UNO populace. The GSRC and the MCA were technically absorbed into SLII, and the organization has assured us that they're working towards making UNO a safe place for all students, not for queer students or for multicultural students, as the organizations were originally working for, but for all students, for everyone. Meanwhile, the student government agencies have had their entire funding removed. Because of this defunding, agencies like Queer and Trans Services will no longer be able to host the events that they're known for. The events that were generally well received by the UNO student populace. The events which the majority of the UNO student populace seems to be enjoying. The SGAs were defunded because of an audit which was conducted on the SGA without involving or contacting them in the process. In fact, the SGA stated they were met with deception and overwhelming silence. The university didn't intend to work with the SGA in the first place. The audit stated that the SGAs didn't have broad-based services for the larger UNO populace, that they should have been providing services for everyone. For everyone. I've heard this rhetoric a lot, and frankly, I'm tired of it. It's an excuse to tailor things to the majority, to remove the important services offered to the minority. After all, if it's for the minority, it isn't for everyone, is it? But there's a fundamental problem with trying to focus on everyone. You simply can't serve everyone. Everyone is too many people. So instead of serving everyone, you work with a generalization, the average person. In other words, by serving everyone, you're not serving everyone, you're serving the majority. You are necessarily ignoring minorities because by definition, we are not the average person. Historically, minorities are oppressed by the majority. We need services which are meant to advocate for our existence because the majority will forget that we exist, that we matter. The majority will call us outcasts for not being like the rest of people. This is the exact purpose of diversity-focused organizations, to provide equality by advocating for and uplifting the underrepresented groups so that they may become a part of the majority in due time. But as it stands, we are not the part of the majority, at least not yet. At first, there was the closure of the GSRC and the MCA, and now there's the defunding of the student government agencies, all of whom were working towards making UNO a safe place for diverse and minority students. This paints a very clear picture. In UNO's eyes, queer students are not welcome. Multicultural students are not welcome. International students are not welcome. Disabled students are not welcome. First-generation students are not welcome, and to some extent, women are not welcome either. Minority students are not welcome. Diversity is not welcome. If minority students are not welcome at this university, then this university is not for everyone. Are these organizations serving the underrepresented populaces at UNO really a failing of inclusion? Or are they simply being persecuted for not tailoring their services to the white, American, able-bodied, cisgender, heterosexual males that all these other organizations represent? Thanks, SGA, for your hard work on this, by the way.
Hello, hello. Some of you recognize me and you're just seeing, oh yeah, it's this bitch again.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yes, but I'm here to also just aim my displeasure at UNO admin in general. You know you fucked up if alumni is coming back here to say something. I'm not happy to be here. I'm just like, I want to leave. I want to have my degree. I want to live a happy life knowing that students are doing well. That's not the case. So who wants a little quick history lesson about the past year and my involvement with the whole process of the GSRC closure moving to today?
Me too. We do.
SGA, this is also your interaction time. I know you're supposed to be quiet, but please. So professional. Bureaucracy is boring. This is why it doesn't work. Look at the election. Oh, well. So let's rewind back to last year's drag show. For those that have attended, we had a prize basket, and there was a fun basket that had a dildo in it. There's no children around here left, is there? Well, too late. Uh, I was the one that recommended that purchase as a fun basket, like a spicy basket. When we go to a drag show and a queer event like this, we already know this is already going to be more of like an adult event. There's no worry about uh, younger folks coming in saying this is inappropriate, anything like that. And then 2 weeks later after the drag show, no more Jessie. And I'm just left panicking, like, what the hell do we do? So that was its own pile of stress. I graduated and I'm still helping QTS in the background as much as I can, essentially acting as a advisor without being an advisor. But after discussions and a personal conversation with Jessie after graduating, since she was at that point under contract not to speak with students, there was nothing about alumni. So after graduating, I spoke with her, and it was the dildo, as much as people were trying to say through the rumor mill that it was something else. Of course, staff not being front facing because of just that iron grip that admin has, specifically Kathy Pettit, can just snap away a staff member that's been there for 10+ years, as well as Dustin Wolf at that same time. And Jessie didn't even have that grace to have an email be put out about her termination, like Dustin. You all aware what it felt like when we lost Dustin. More conversations later, and we have like the total closure of the DEI office at UNL. I'm surprised that we still have a DEI office technically, but okay. But then GSRC's closure, they already put a hiring freeze within that department, so that department couldn't rebuild itself as staff continued to dwindle. There was no leadership left, so they merged into SLII. And just kind of homogenizing everything, whitewashing everything, just sanitizing everything. And now we have the complete defunding of all the agencies now. I know this is not just QTS being affected, but this is just my department where I've worked and worked closely with. I know there was a lot of tensions between the WGC, of course, with SGA and admin about their acts, and I love the work that they do. And you're going to hear plenty from Zoe later. I know this. Y'all know her well. So I hope you brought snacks and food, but I'll go ahead and just pass the mic on and just thank you for listening.
Hello, and bonsoir. I am Lawrence Wilson, the second, the current director for Queer Transgender Services, and I will want to start off on a more positive note before I descend into madness. First, this week, on November 4th, we hosted, along with Map Productions, the Homecoming Drag Show. It was a full success. We had 143 students, and we raised $484.60 for Omaha for Us. I know, iconic, and I need to thank like a bunch of people right now. So first, I want to thank SGA for letting us get the budget that we needed, because SABC, that's not fun, that's not cute, not very demure, but but thank y'all for that. And I also want to thank Sierra, the Empress herself, for helping me organize this whole stuff, because this has been in the works since like August. And I want to thank Denise and the whole business office for making sure that all of our transactions and contracts are signed in accordance with all regulations and stuff like that. That is very, very important. And although I don't think they're here tonight, reservations for setting up the room entirely, because without them, the drag show would have been a whole mess. And I also want to thank Maverick Productions, because QTS could have not done that by themselves, because girl, we don't have that budget. And they were very key in getting us the headliner, Heidi in Closet. And from what I heard from her, she said she really enjoyed the performing for UNO, and she may come back. Now, here is the sad part. So the only reason why the drag show was even to take place is because we signed contracts. That was the only saving grace that we had, or else we would have not been able to pay any of the performers that were there, including the headliner and the local performers. And that personally saddens me. It makes me angry because supposedly QTS, along with many student organizations, don't meet the broad base of students, even though, for instance, the drag show pulled upon a whole age demographic and everyone across this university. And even then, the students that couldn't come could have come anyway. And that just made me really angry to find out not too long ago that all of our funding's been removed essentially, and that we can't do anything like sponsor any fun, cool public events that anyone could come to anymore because of, I don't know, Kathy Pettit's wins. Who knows? Let's see, who else? I think that's all I have to say. I'm just angry and I'm very, very exhausted. And the fact that I'm up here on a Thursday night of all times where I should be studying and doing my exams, I am here pleading the case for all student agencies to get their funding back, because you all and everyone at home watching this on live knows that we all do excellent work and that we need this funding so that we can continue to do our goddamn job. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Holden Goodall, and I'm a member of the QTS board. I joined near the start of this semester, and I'm a freshman. I've prepared some remarks about the defunding of the agencies. The stated reason for the defunding of the student government agencies, those of the American Multicultural Students, First Generation Student Agency, International Student Services, Network for Disability Awareness, Queer and Transgender Services, and the Women and Gender Equity Center, was that these agencies did not provide a broad-based benefit to the student population. This is a gross misinterpretation of not just the requirements to receive Fund Day dollars, but also a violation of the values that we as the University of Nebraska Omaha hold. Diversity is the strength of Omaha, not only in the cultural influences that we take in, but also in the belief that every student, each and every student, is valuable and someone that we will want as a classmate, someone who we want to represent, and reaching them is so important. Unfortunately, this belief in diversity is not reflected by the leadership at UNO. This decision to defund our agencies flies flagrantly in the face of this value. It is a renouncement of diversity, such that we must call not only for the reinstatement of Fund Day dollars to the defunded student agencies, but to the immediate resignation of Kathy Pettit as Vice Chancellor for the Division of Student Life and Wellbeing, as well as her role of the Dean of Undergraduate Students. Thank you.
All right, I will specify with a few preliminary things. My name is Anush Bujel. I signed up here entirely by force of accident, but I'm still going to speak because I believe, regardless of circumstances that got me here, I want to make sure that all students have a voice in this university. Where do I start? So I have a loose understanding of this initially, and I think I'm getting increasingly more ideas of what is going on. I think that this recent broad base appeal thing is the bureaucratic equivalent to a blank check that can allow for the university to basically dismantle any organizations that may be considered a bit too, how do the media say, woke. And I think such a thing is ridiculous. We are Omaha. We are a city that is diverse and composed of many different types of people. And I think that just because they are not the majority, that doesn't make their existence any less valid. Broad-based appeal, it just strikes me as such a sinister thing. It is, like narrow appeal is like saltwater divers off of Australia. That's pretty narrow appeal if I've heard of one. But being disabled, being of a different culture like me, being queer like many of my friends, it's fundamental to who we are. And I think that making this like no longer funded, it's worrying. This is not who we are as a city. And I'm worried by this. It's a guy who is of Nepali descent. My parents are the immigrants. I was born here. And with a person with many queer and or, multicultural friends, this affects me deeply. And I know many others are affected too. Give me a moment to think. I don't know exactly what we can demand for. I hear about the resignation of this vice chancellor. If that is the best course of action to make sure that UNO can remain a place that is safe for people of all backgrounds, so be it. That's all.
Hello, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Deepa Palali. I'm a freshman at UNO, and I am a part of the Women and Gender Equity Board as a digital commerce person. I want to start off by relaying a personal anecdote or a personal memoir about a meeting I had with Kathy Pettit not too long ago. On October 21st, I had a meeting with Kathy Pettit in regards to the declined submission to buy 25 of each color of the Palestinian flag for Students for Justice in Palestine and WGEC's Reproductive Health in Gaza collaboration. Me and two others from Students for Justice in Palestine during the meeting were met with one, fake innocence, as Kathy kept indirectly claiming that it was the auditor's fault, not her, and that it would be really, really hard for her to enact the change. And two, we were met with strange hypotheticals asking, what if someone were to see the colors of the t-shirt display and feel political bias? And how would you defend the case that this is for the broad-based population? As if there aren't a multitude of Arab students on campus, and as if there aren't a multitude of Muslim students on campus, and as if there wasn't a multitude of people on campus who care about what's going on in the world. What Kathy Pettit fails to realize, or what she pretends to fail to realize in order to adhere to the white cishet male gaze, is that our agencies don't just affect the minorities that we help. They affect people who want to get educated about our struggles. They affect people who care about our struggles. They affect our allies. And they affect people who want to enact real change in the world. Specifically with WGEC, we don't just affect women. We affect men who live with women and who might need to get the products that we offer or that we could offer with the ESP program that is now fully defunded. We affect queer students. We give a safe space to queer students and trans students. We give a safe space for women. We give a safe space for domestic assault survivors. We give a safe space for sexual assault survivors. And we give a safe space for those who want to learn about our struggles and help us the best way we can. Kathy Pettit is purposely keeping this broad-based population idea vague so that she can actively hurt us and so that she can actively say or indirectly make decisions that only adhere to white, cis heterosexual men. That is the case here. As one of the people who spoke said, we are not welcome here. We are not welcome here, and Kathy does not want anything to do with us. She does not want us to come together to help our people in need. She does not want us to be allies to people in need. She does not want us here. She does not care about us. Kathy Pettit, this is my message for you. Until you stop acting naive, and until you start giving us the respect we deserve, there will be rage, and there will be retaliation, and there will be a call for your resignation, because we are not free until everyone is free. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Zoe Miller. I'm an alumni of UNO. I will be taking my full 10 minutes, so I would encourage the Senate to extend open forum so everyone has a chance to speak. I first want to say there is a binder here in the front. Thank you to the over 1,000 people who have signed the petition to call for Kathy's resignation and to get the full allocation back for agencies. You can view it up here at your own liking. I attended UNO from fall 2020 until I graduated in spring 2024. During my time at UNO, I served as a board member of the WGEC from 2021 to 2022 and WGEC director from 2022 until this past May. During my time at UNO, I was a target for the Division of Student Life and Wellbeing. I first heard of Kathy Pettit my sophomore year. I had recently joined the WGEC as a board member, and I remember when everyone would mention her name, it'd be met with a scoff. No one talked about her positively, but I didn't know anything about her, so I kept an open mind. It wasn't until the end of my sophomore year that I realized what people were talking about. I worked for the sustainability office that year, and sometime in April during Earth Month, we found out that the office would be shifting from student success to facilities. Kathy Pettit moved our office under facilities, which is run by Larry Morgan, an open climate change denier, a misogynist, and someone who's homophobic. And being an office of all queer women, it felt terrible. My boss at the time then found out that the student worker positions that we had would not continue and our jobs would end in roughly a month. Our boss was instructed by Kathy Pettit to not tell us. We eventually found out from our boss before she was fired from the university and scheduled a meeting with Kathy Pettit to make the situation right. I kept an open mind. We were met with empty words and a woman who was gaslighting us. I now understood why students did not like her. I remember one of our coworkers had a phone call with Kathy, and she told this student to stop talking about Larry Morgan negatively, or there would be ramifications against their reputation that could jeopardize their status at UNO. My junior year in 2022, I became the co-director for the WGEC. We were instructed to come to a student government open house to talk about ourselves and our agency and all the great work we're doing. I remember Kathy being there. After agency director spoke, Kathy Pettit had a chance to speak. She talked about how it was an election year and said, our very own NU Regent Jim Pillen is running for governor, and praised him. It felt wrong for her to do this, especially because of the harm he caused not only when he was regent, but his campaign promises that would hurt Mavericks. During my junior year, one of my biggest goals as WGEC director was to get a Plan B vending machine on campus. I know many of you know the story. We had a community donor lined up to pay for the machine and a nonprofit that would help pay for the Plan B and pregnancy tests. I brought this idea to Kathy in fall 2022. Back then, she would actually meet with agency directors and, see how we were doing and what support we needed. In this meeting, I brought up the vending machine idea and she was in support of it and asked for a proposal. Myself and Isha DeCall, the other co-director, wrote a proposal and sent it to Kathy. She then told us she would send it over to legal counsel to make sure everything's compliant. After a few weeks of not hearing anything, I emailed Kathy and legal counsel myself to see how progress was coming. I was quickly greeted with an email from Kathy telling legal to disregard and that I was to communicate only with Kathy. This is not the first time she has done this to a student or a staff member. She also mentioned that a meeting between me, Isha, and our advisor, Alex, would happen after Thanksgiving break to discuss. The four of us met on February 6, 2023, and Kathy approved the project. I was so happy. She sent follow-up emails to the health center and business office for the logistical items we still had to make happen. We did our due diligence. Our donor deposited her check of around $4,000 to cover the cost of the machine. Then in May, I sent an email asking to meet and reconnect since I hadn't heard from Kathy since April about the project progress. Myself, Alex, former student regent Hakeem Latoro, and Trent Fredrickson met in July, and Kathy told us the project is likely to not get approved by legal counsel because it would use state-funded electricity. It would use state-funded electricity. Like this whole room isn't using it, and we're doing all this now. I was heartbroken. I followed up with Kathy asking to still pursue this project and for her to get back to me by a deadline because she is notorious for not doing that. She responded back to me saying, quote, "The tone of your email and demand is inappropriate. Please consider this feedback." In the winter of 2022 into 2023, myself and Hakeem worked on an event called Understanding the Unicameral and planned to make the student body aware of bills that are harmful to Nebraskans, like a 6-week abortion ban and a ban against transgender healthcare. Hakeem met with Victoria Kahoot and got approval for this. She was happy that we were keeping students civically engaged. When we returned from winter break, that tone changed. My advisor told me we couldn't take any stances on legislation and that it came from Kathy. The GSRC was instructed they could not be private citizens and testify on bills. She then brought up that there would be consequences if we continued down that route. I asked, what are the consequences? And she didn't answer. I then asked GSRC staff what this meant, and they have inferred it meant firing staff and getting rid of offices that support the agency. This came true. After the summer of 2023, I felt a bridge burned with Kathy. The respect I had for her was gone. When we came back in fall of 2023, I felt a shift. I noticed that student government was a lot colder toward me and my board. It was because staff and admin told students to not trust each other. It was because admin had pawned students to be against us. In fall of 2023, an anti-abortion group chalked dangerous anti-abortion rhetoric in the plaza of Milo Bail. I had a board member submit an event to counter the chalking and focus on writing positive messages. Students who were not affiliated with the WGC dumped water on the anti-abortion chalk, and myself and WGC got blamed for it. Admin asked the SGA advisor to file a student court case against us since they could not put me in compliance training for it. There was no due process and WGC was penalized. My advisors told me that Kathy and the rest of admin is trying to see if they can get me into compliance coaching sessions. I was so fearful, but we continued to push the needle. More than a year ago, I purchased a raffle basket for the QTS drag show, Gay Rodeo. The items in the raffle basket were a cowboy hat, a fake whip, a bandana, bondage rope, and a dildo. The former QTS director, Lewis, asked for WGC to purchase a basket and approved of the items that were in it. I bought the items off Amazon and submitted a reimbursement like I usually do. The drag show happened, the raffle basket was seen by admin, and they were furious. My advisor and the former director of the GSRC got fired for it. HR questioned her if she ever had approval over student purchases, and she did not, ever. She got fired for something I did. Kathy Pettit was looking for any reason to fire the director of the GSRC to start shutting down that office, and she succeeded. I didn't understand this. We had purchased sex toys before for events. We purchased sex toys for an event that happened a week prior to the drag show, and no one ever questioned us for it. Then I got reimbursed with a cash reimbursement. That was the only time that has ever happened to me. Kathy's assistant emailed me a month after the drag show saying my cash reimbursement was ready for pickup at Hayden House. I have always received my reimbursement as checks in the mail or from the Milo Bail business office. I questioned why it was cash and never received reasoning for it. After the director of the GSRC got fired, I learned how much Kathy hated me. She told me how Kathy already had a bad first impression of me because I wore a crop top to a meeting. I don't remember this meeting. Kathy then proceeded to tell Dr. Jessie Hitchens that she needs to tell me how to learn to cover up.
Oh, what?
I was also told how Kathy talked badly about former student regent Hakeem Latoro in divisional meetings and how he was scary. It's more than a microaggression at this point. I was told how Kathy has been trying to get rid of the agencies for years, and this is how it starts. After this whole fiasco, there were significant changes made to purchases. In the spring semester of 2024, Kathy made us basically get rid of our direct parenting program and made us take our products out of the Maverick Food Pantry. I was livid. I brought these issues to student government, and unfortunately, there were still too many pawns in the body last year for solutions to happen. We were told an audit was coming because the president's office got wind of a sex toy purchase at UNO. I wonder what administrator told them that, or if it's even true. I tried to schedule a meeting with the SGA advisor over what next steps meant, and instead Kathy refused for me to meet with her. It wasn't until April when I met with my old advisor, Alex, to vent to her about this past year. We had been through a lot. She had been gone from the university since September, but could relate to many of my struggles. She told me about the power and control wheel, which I recommend all of you look up right now, and how I was being abused and manipulated by the division. Kathy and the division used isolation tactics, economic abuse, emotional abuse, and minimizing, denying, and blaming tactics against me.
I motion to extend open forum by 30 minutes.
30 minutes, seconded by Senator Piper. Now we're on to a period of discussion to extend open forum for 10 minutes, 30 minutes. If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. In the opinion of the chair, open forum has been extended by 30 minutes.
There has to be a motion to extend her speaking time.
Is it her speaking time specifically or the
Because
open
From
forum?
my understanding, you motion to extend open forum, and all not open forum. as a-
Request for information. Is it that Zoe specifically has run out of time or open forum itself is?
Sorry, Zoe specifically. is running out of time.
Oh, okay. I motion to extend Zoe Miller's speaking time by 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Is there a seconded? Senator John, is there a period? Now we're on to a period of discussion to extend Zoe Miller's speaking rights to 3 minutes. If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. In the opinion of the chair, Zoe Miller has 3 minutes left.
Thank you so much. I promise I'm almost done. There are more examples I didn't get into tonight because there are so many. Kathy Pettit's time at the university is done. There shouldn't be more people who face the same treatment that I faced during my time at the university. We shouldn't wait for it to get worse. The students deserve a leader who will actually advocate for them, not gaslight them. The students deserve a leader who wants students to thrive. The students deserve a leader who will support students. Kathy Pettit needs to resign, or the chancellor needs to make the call to terminate her role as soon as possible. I'm sick of this. I'm done with this. Senate, have the courage tonight. Kathy Pettit could have been here and she's not. To face you all, have the courage tonight. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Leaf Like on a Tree Price, and I am a board member on the Queer and Trans Services, and I work as recruitment. And I would like to start my section with a little anecdote for you all, and trigger warnings for self-harm and mentions of suicide. So, a few years back, there is this girl. She is on the precipice of adulthood. In her senior year of high school, her mother gets deathly ill. That next semester, she goes right here to University of Nebraska, Omaha, because this student just so happens to be queer. And she is promised that here at UNO, she could have a space to be herself. If she didn't have that space, well, who knows what would have happened? Maybe she starts resorting to hurting herself. Maybe a lot worse happens. But lo and behold, there was a space. It was called the Queer and Trans Services. It was called all the other agencies that were our allies that made me, yes, if it wasn't obvious by now, this girl is me. There were so many allies, so many of our allies telling me that it is okay to be me. Kathy Pettit, you are telling me it's not okay to be me. This pandering to the majority, the average person, is the white male. I don't know how many white males I see here, but they are the majority. We are minorities. We are the people who need the voice, our voice, most. You are actively taking away our voice. And if you're telling me it's all because, oh, what if someone thinks it's political? I think it's more political for you to act like our existence is political. Let's call this what it is. In politics. It should not be. No more.
Kathy, step down. You are not fit.
The decision to defund QTS ultimately comes down to a disturbing trend in our society, a trend toward anti-democratic power structures and non-participatory decision-making procedures. It's really crazy that the justification, the fig leaf they use to justify defunding all these student organizations is a broad-based appeal when they didn't ask the students. I don't remember being asked if I wanted this to happen. Who's this broad base that they're appealing to? Ultimately, the flimsy excuses, the bureaucratic runarounds, the just dead ends of interpersonal communication that go nowhere, these all reflect a deep contempt for the people, a contempt for popular self-government. They reflect a lack of concern with the matter of building a society on democratic principles. The decision to abolish QTS was abhorrent. It's going to severely negatively impact a lot of students on campus. And it wouldn't have happened if democratic decision-making had more power over these kinds of calls. So should we have the vice chancellor resign? Yes, absolutely. Kathy Pettit sounds like a very poor representative of the interests of democracy. But more importantly, why is it her call to make? Why is this authority being entrusted to a person instead of the people? It sounds like this broad base that they're appealing to is a broad base of one, maybe two or three people. How about an actual broad base? The people in this room right now, the people that I know, that I care about, who care about me, the people in my community, the people I see all around me when I walk around on campus, that these student administrative bodies are supposedly supposed to be serving. Where's our power? Where's our authority to make decisions like that? What if we could abolish her position? I would want to, for sure. I don't know about the rest of you. With that, I'll hand it off. I just want to challenge all of you to think about this in terms not just of the people that are in the positions, but the positions themselves. Think systemically. Challenge the power structure, not just the people that happen to be in power at the moment. Thank you.
Hi, y'all. I'm Eva Birkland. For some context, before I speak, I was a senator here in SGA for over 2 years, where I worked on the Rules Committee and was chair of the Civic Engagement Committee. I wanted to speak in support of our student agencies, especially with my background in student government. I would like to first invite any administrator or staff member who was part of the audit and who believes in defunding these agencies to please come to the last events that they host to meet the people who serve as directors and as board members of these organizations and see whose work you are impeding. I then invite you to meet the people impacted by these agencies because their impact is indeed broad. Their services not only support students from a variety of backgrounds, but their services encourage an inclusive environment where students can learn from other students who may have grown up differently from them. I shouldn't have to say this to convince people that these services are necessary, but inclusion benefits everyone. This school is the most diverse in the NU system, and UNO has advertised this fact as an asset. It's time to start acting like it is, because taking away agencies and resources for students, especially without student input, is not treating having students with a multitude of lived experiences as an asset. I cannot convey my disappointment about this decision in words, especially because I've watched as agency directors have fought hard to improve the lives of UNO students, have spent hours working on proposals for funding, and thinking about ways that they can better serve students. Like in any process where such large funds are used, There have been actions that we should interrogate, and I have been a part of these processes in holding people accountable and making sure that student government is a good steward of student funds. Additionally, I was part of bylaw changes made in the last session that addressed accountability issues that administrators seem to have. There are processes in place to ensure that SGA is a good steward of student funds. There are processes that allow for agencies to support students while using Fund A funds with integrity. However, moments of fault are vastly outweighed by the service of these agencies have provided to a broad range of UNO students. I implore administrators to interrogate why they are deciding to do what they are doing right now with Fund A dollars, which come from students. I have not met a single student, a part of the body that pays for these agencies, who has been disappointed or who has expressed that they don't want these funds to go to these agencies. Student organizations have dealt time and time again with disruptions to serving students and to serving UNO's mission of inclusion, engagement, and excellence that is literally stated on UNO's website. I have called for students to be heard for years as a senator, and I want students to be listened to now. Finally, before I leave, I want to recognize the work of student government, the executive branch, the senators, support staff, and those working with agencies. They work hard week by week to be stewards of student dollars, of their officers, and of the values of this campus, and that good work often goes unrecognized. Thank them, and work with them to make this campus a better place for everyone. I remember being a senator and wanting to work with students, wanting to hear from students, wanting to get emails from students. And these people up here, they are kind and they want to help. Students, please reach out to work with them. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elahi. I'm a senior here. I'm the president of both Sandwich Club and the Asian Student Union at the moment.
Sandwich Club. Sandwich Club. Movement.
This is kind of unrelated to what people have been saying so far, but I wanted to bring attention to Sodexo's food policy once again. Anyone who knows my club knows that Sodexo has a ban on potlucks here at UNO. And in order to enforce that policy, they've had to make it so that you're not allowed to share food on campus. I've got food up there. If I was to share it with a couple of my friends here, I'm told the business office would come down on the SGA. My hope is that with enough attention through my organization, maybe through some action from SGA, that maybe we'll bring enough attention to this, and maybe they won't renew their contract next year. Putting on my ASU hat, I also wanted to speak about the defunding of student agencies. Asian Student Union has used the services of these agencies throughout its existence. Without any of these agencies, we wouldn't be able to have Lunar New Year, and we won't be able to have Lunar New Year, an event that has brought in 100+ people the past like 3 years. And we also won't be able to have any money to fund going to our conference that we have every year, MASU. In the draft of the audit that was shared, the internal audit director said that broad-based, defined by the Cambridge Dictionary, is a wide range of different things or people, or affecting many different places or activities. According to this, when they defund the WGEC, for example, it's because women aren't a wide range of people, or that women don't affect many different places or activities, the definition in the Cambridge Dictionary. Do they want this to be the university's official judgment? Do they want this to be the judgment on all the minority students here, that queer and trans students aren't a wide range of people? Even still, I think all of these, like people said before, all these agencies do benefit all the student population. If I was to become a parent, I would use the WGEC's services. When I want to go learn more about different cultures, I have a whole myriad of events that are supported through Fund A dollars that help promote cultural awareness on campus. So basically, the whole student body is being denied opportunities to learn. And these are important, sometimes essential agencies. They improve people's lives. They give a support system to the students here. So finally, I want to mention Kathy Pettit's poor leadership. She could not be bothered to make an official announcement about the GSRC's closure.
She defunded agencies with just a draft of an audit report. And she has no plans to support student activities or movements, has no idea what equity means. And I think she should resign from her position. Thank you.
Hello, I was the director of NDA my freshman year in fall of 2022 through 2023. I had a meeting with Kathy Pettit my freshman year because she wanted to meet with all the agency directors and get to know them. One of the things we talked about was why I was interested in the position, and I had a lot of reasons and a lot of qualifications for the position. But it came up that I'm autistic. And then the entire meeting, she kept circling back to it and telling me how inspiring it was that even though I'm autistic, I'm able to maintain my hygiene independently and be successful in school. Unlike a lot of other autistic people she's met as a 504 coordinator. So when I was a freshman, one of the organizations I was most excited to join was the Network for Disability Awareness. When I applied, I'd looked at all of the organizations and I saw that when I was like, oh, that's really cool. There's representation on campus for me. And then when I joined, I was the person that was the director because there hadn't been very much support to keep the agency maintained. And when I was doing that, I spent a lot of time with the other agency directors and I got to really directly see the impact that they had on the student body and the supports they had on campus. I'm majoring in education and currently work as a substitute teacher, and I don't feel comfortable telling my students that they should attend UNO because with the diversity, equity, inclusion being systematically destroyed on campus, I don't trust Kathy Pettit or any other administrators to support students that I recommend attend UNO. So that's why I think that the agencies should be refunded and that Kathy Pettit should have some type of consequence for all of the things that she's done on campus that have negatively affected the student body.
Good evening. My name is Jill Dibburn Manhart. I'm here as a parent, educator, and a former UNO student. I work with a variety of local schools with youth of all ages and are fully aware of the issues facing our youth today. Defunding important agencies that serve the needs of underserved students is a very short-sighted decision on behalf of the university. Each of these student government agencies state their missions to create a welcoming environment, provide resources and supports for students. I'm struggling to see how these are not seen as valuable and much needed agencies by this university. I have a current UNO student as well as a senior in high school who is looking for her future collegiate education. I would love to have my child stay here, but I cannot in good conscience encourage her to stay here in Omaha to attend UNO. As recently as 2022, UNO's very own Center for Public Affairs Research released data on ongoing brain drain happening in our state since 2010. Solving this brain drain problem begins at the university level by attracting students to our city and then creating a community where students can see themselves creating a life within that community. Student agencies that support and serve students of all populations are important factors when potential students are looking at universities. These are the spaces that help students feel connected, create relationships, foster their desire to contribute to that community in the future. The message UNO is sending to these prospective students is UNO does not value or support women, students in differing cultural ethnic groups, students who have disabilities, international students, LGBTQ+ students, or first-generation college students. The Women and Gender Equity Center states that they provide supports for parents, which means that when you defund a center like this, you defund working families who are trying to further their education and be able to better support their families who are part of our community. This not only harms the parents, but the children who will not have more opportunities available to them. And not supporting families also hurts the growth in our communities and the benefits that we can all experience. This brain drain problem is not corrected when students do not even imagine that they can start out their college career here in Omaha. This makes it even more difficult to entice young professionals back to our state when they've experienced other collegiate communities that have supported and created a thriving living community for them. Coming back to our state is not appealing. As an educational facility, you understand the importance of the foundation of education for our youth. You have a teaching college that contributes to the teacher shortage of this community. You are not showing you value education and the children of this community. You must be constantly attracting intelligent, creative, innovative people to come to UNO. Defunding student services contributes to the challenges in our economy for a state that does not have other attractions to offer. As a lifelong Nebraskan who grew up mid-state, attended UNL, and now has a child here at UNO, I am deeply disappointed in the university system. It appears they are not forward-thinking in their approach to education and the growth of our state. The message being sent to our students and families is clear. They are not valued or wanted by this institution.
For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dee Rai, and I'm the Center for the College of IS&T. I am speaking on behalf of Navia, a student who was unable to make it today's meeting due to a prior commitment. My name is Navia Kandavoli, and I'm the president of the Indian Student Association. I am submitting this statement today on behalf of the Indian Student Association's Executive Board to express our support for AMS and the reinstatement of their funding. AMS has played a large role in helping us restart our student organization after COVID-19. As a student organization with limited funding, AMS's cultural support program has been essential, providing resources and materials for our events. In the first year, we partnered with AMS. They extended a helping hand, connecting us with vendors and assisting us in hosting an important cultural event on campus. At that time, we had no funding and relied on them to help us celebrate a holiday that reminded many of our members of their homes and traditions in India. Since then, our partnership with AMS has allowed us to grow our events significantly. What started as events of just 10 people has grown to over 250 attendees, including students from various cultural backgrounds, all celebrating the beauty of Indian holidays together. AMS has helped Indian students, including myself, feel a strong sense of belonging through our cultural roots, a connection that is essential to who we are as students and individuals. By removing AMS's funding, the university is removing an opportunity for students of many cultures to thrive and flourish. This connection with our cultural backgrounds enriches our overall educational experience here at UNO. The Indian Student Association urges the university to reinstate AMS funding to allow them to continue supporting students and fostering inclusion on campus. Thank you.
My name is Rosie. I am a senator for the College of Education, Health, and Human Sciences, and I am speaking on behalf of Isabella Manhart, who couldn't be here today. My name is Isabella Manhart, and I am the president and the founding member of Durango's Outfitters, UNO's only student-run campus closet. The purpose of our organization is to provide free, sustainable, gender-inclusive clothing to all members of the UNO community in order to meet basic needs, support access to gender-affirming items, promote campus sustainability, facilitate professional development, and eliminate financial, social, and professional barriers to success at UNO. We just completed our first full year in operation, and as registered student organization, we now serve more than 200 students a month at our pop-up events. We work hard to ensure our closet is inclusive and accessible, but those are becoming bad words in the state and on our campus. I want to make it very clear, inclusivity and accessibility are not bad words. At our closet, it means we have a variety of sizes, clothing for people of all genders, clothing for different styles, occasions, seasons, baby clothes for our parenting students, which is very fun to sort through. Just because not everyone on campus wears a medium doesn't mean we don't offer any medium-sized clothing. Because some people on our campus do wear mediums. Just because not everyone likes to wear dresses doesn't mean we get rid of all our dresses, because some people do. Just because not everyone needs men's size 11 dress shoes does not mean we throw out the dress shoes that got donated to us, because inevitably someone is preparing for their first big job interview, will come in and find that we have exactly what they need. If we were to extend the logic about equity that is being used to defund and shutter our student agencies to the free closet, we would not be able to serve anyone at all. We would have to get rid of all the items in our closet because not every item is suitable for every single person on campus. But all of our items are suitable for someone on campus because our closet isn't equal, it is equitable. Equity is how our
Thank you. Equity is how our universities operate. We see it in our different colleges and departments, in our testing requirements, in the way we disperse scholarship funding, and the way we provide services. The decision to defund all student agencies hurts so many students, including many of the ones we serve. Durango's Outfitters has worked closely with Korean Trans Services and the former Gender Sexuality Resource Center since we began our work. One of our founding missions, and one we are still strongly committed to today, is making gender-affirming clothing and accessories accessible to students. QTS has been instrumental in doing that work, and defunding them does a disservice to us and many other student organizations who look to them as partners. And we want to thank QTS and the Gender Sexuality Resource Center for the work that they do continuously. Gender-affirming clothing is actually one of the most equal things we do at the campus closet. It means everyone can find clothes and accessories that match their gender identity and make them feel confident. Men who want men clothing can find them at our closet. Women who want women's clothing can find them at our closet. And our trans and non-binary friends who want clothes that align with their genders can also find these items at our closet. If people cannot find clothes or accessories that align with their gender, no matter what their gender is, we find ways to get them, often by connecting with our partners at QTS. This is how we ensure everyone on our campus is served through our work. Defunding the student agencies deprives Durango's Outfitters from doing our hard work by collaborating across campus to ensure we can support all students. It deprives many other RSOs as well, who rely on their collaborations with student agencies to make their campus, our campus, a better place. Durango's Outfitters stands firmly with our student agency partners in demanding that all UNO agencies be refunded. Stand with students, return funding to student agencies. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Mashonik, and I am here today just as a student, voicing my anger and my concern. The decision to defund student agencies was that of a poor one. The timing was cruel. Just after Wear Black, Give Back, our university's only chance to fundraise for student organizations. Kathy has clearly targeted a specific group of minorities. Kathy chose to target these groups under the precincts that she believed they weren't helpful for every student. Kathy knew what she was doing, knew who she wanted to hurt, and did this under the guise that all the agencies weren't inclusive enough. Kathy fails to acknowledge that everyone could benefit from these organizations. Admittedly, I am not nearly as affected by these cuts as others, but that doesn't mean I can't use my voice and speak for those who can't. I mean, I do love to talk. So Kathy, these final words are for you. You know what you did. You made these decisions to make it harder for specific college students to live. What you didn't anticipate is that you would have to face the consequences. Students, alumni, and even staff are calling for you to resign, and I hope you do. You don't serve the community anymore, just as you claim that these agencies didn't. And you're lucky I hold respect for people I don't like, because if I didn't, I'd be reading the roasts that my friends are texting me of you right now. So, bye, babe.
My name is Winifred Huber. I'm a freshman here at UNO, and one of the main reasons that I chose UNO over so many other institutions was because of the amazing communities and support that was offered here. And when I found out that it was going to be defunded effective immediately, I cried because so many of the things that I worked so hard to fight for my rights have been taken away from so many students. Kathy Pettit thinks that minorities are a threat almost, and they are not a threat. Trans people are not a threat. Multicultural people are not a threat. People being themselves is not a threat. She wants to serve the majority, but minorities also make a huge percentage because we are individuals, we are people, and we have feelings too.
Say it louder.
We are not just a percentage. We are not people that can just be pushed down. We are people with emotions and feelings, and we deserve to have organizations that serve us, which is a broad student base and not just a small area. So many things have been defunded completely inappropriately and out of disrespect for the entire student body. On behalf of so many students, Kathy Pettit needs to resign because she does not deserve to represent us as an association. Thank you.
My name is Vanessa Pease, and honestly, an hour ago, did not think I was going to be speaking here. But honestly, I am not a part of any of these groups, and I didn't know about any of these groups, which one thing, insane, because I was told maybe 36 times where literally every printer is. So first of all, the fact that I didn't even know about these groups is insane because it would have helped me so much in situations that clearly don't care about and have never been through. So how do you know if it should be funded or not if you have never experienced things like groups in these groups that have been participating have? It's also insane to me that you claim to be a leader but can't face criticism. Where are you? Where are you? Because if you really cared about everybody in this room, you would be here to listen because that's what leaders do. Leaders don't sit at home and just pretend like there's no issues. That's insane. That's not how you show people that you care because that's not caring. If I make a mistake, I own up. I listen because that's how you are a leader. You don't just pretend like it doesn't exist or defund groups that are helping people. I don't care if it doesn't help every single person that goes to the university because not everybody experiences the same issues. Not everybody needs the same things. That's why these groups exist. These groups exist. They help people who need it. And it's just insane to me that you could just defund groups and, first of all, not tell anyone. Insane. Why? Because you know it was wrong. Okay, because if you were confident in this decision, guess what? You'd tell people because you'd be proud of it. And you know what? Crazy. I didn't know about this. I literally learned about this 2 days ago. Crazy. If you want to care about the students, first of all, inform us. Insane. Can we know things? Because like, I know a lot of people who would love to learn about this and who would not be very happy at all because you're defunding groups, like I'm saying. You're defunding groups that are helping people. What? There's no point. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Come stand in front of people criticizing you.
Hello, my name is Iman Pearson. I am a freshman in the College of Ed. I'm gonna speak for myself and then also some friends that I have that are prospective students of UNO that are still in high school. Because when I was in high school, I experienced some things that are very similar to what's happening here, specifically in the education field. Because I was a student leader in Ed Rising for a year or so. And I had many friends in that group who were first generation students, students of color, queer students, who completely just gave up trying to be teachers because they did not feel supported. And I think that's a good example of how important it is to feel supported, especially in fields where like you need more representation, like teaching, like engineering, like so many other fields that are dominated by white men or white people in general, because it's just super important. Because if you don't have those support systems, people drop out of college, and college is a big step to diversifying the career field. I came here because I thought I would have resources. I have many friends who are in high school who want to come here because their only support systems are at school. They don't have support systems in their families, and so they want to come here to have those support systems continued. And I think the defunding of all these organizations is really going to impact them. I really don't want my friends to give up on college because this is a huge thing. Getting into college is huge for many, many people. Yeah.
Hi everyone. I wasn't planning on speaking, so I'm going to be reading directly from my phone.
So sorry about that. My name is Layla Courier, and I know a lot of folks here tonight are speaking from personal experiences or close relations with the affected organizations. Thank you all for sharing your stories and feelings about what's going on recently. We appreciate your bravery, and we appreciate you speaking up because it is not easy, especially this week. I'm here on behalf of the Public Health Student Association to talk not about my own personal experience as a queer person on campus, as somebody who regularly uses the resources that are no longer available to me, but as a student and as a healthcare professional. The work that these organizations that are affected have done directly give access to healthcare and health information to those on campus. Students, faculty, and staff are of better health and well-being with the work these organizations do. Thank you to those organizations for your work. The decisions to defund these organizations negatively affect the health and well-being of students and staff. Times like these show that time and time again, healthcare access and education is being threatened. It's disheartening to see that UNO is contributing to this issue. This campus can expect to see dramatic impacts on all, not just minority, but all students from this decision. Grades, attendance, the physical health, mental health, and safety of students, faculty, and staff on campus are going to be negatively affected by this choice. Compared to Nebraska, UNO and Omaha as a whole is seen as a safe space for minority folks. The blue dot, if you guys haven't seen that around. From my personal experiences, UNO has been regarded as the best Nebraska college in terms of equity and student success. We have some of the most successful alumni in Nebraska because of the work that students and faculty do to improve equity in everyone's lives. Everybody is successful at UNO because of people who care. UNO cannot afford to dismiss the blatant disregard for all students' safety, health, and well-being. I urge those listening, here in person and online, Kathy Pettit, I hope you're listening online. I urge everyone to continue fighting against this choice. Individuals at UNO deserve to have their basic needs, their health care, be supported and met at their home, at their college. People call UNO home, and they deserve to have those basic needs met at their home. We urge Kathy Pettit to step down for the betterment of everyone on campus and for the betterment of healthcare in Omaha. Thank you.
Before any further comment, I'll say I congratulate you all. Earlier this month, I was asked, what do I think is a leader? And a leader, we can point out many characteristics, but the main one that I always say is number one, is being there. I congratulate you all for being here right now, because it's incredible somebody that'll keep calling herself a leader of this body that is not here today, standing, fighting for, if she believes in her beliefs, then fight for them. You stand on them. If you cannot stand on what you believe in, then stand aside. I am Carlos Cesar Gums. I'm the student wellness coordinator for SGA, and I was a senator last semester. I was invited to Kathy's student advisory board. And the first concern that I brought is as a Puerto Rican that came from a whole other world, I guess. The universities there are always packed, full of student life. And I brought up that here, it is so dead. There's no students. There's no life. It feels like nobody wants to be here. I told Kathy Pettit that she needs to invest on students, on student orgs, on student community, on student agencies. In the end of the day, it is important to invest on the students that invest in you. 60%, 60% of this university is funded by students. And I may ask, does it look like it? Students fund the life of this university. They make this university come to life. I met this summer with the pressure of this position, many student leaders in this university that help our university come to life for certain students, that make resources be known to certain students, that make certain students feel welcome, seen, heard, loved at this university. In the end, they told me they don't feel seen by the university. They don't feel heard. And yet, our student leaders have all the way to keep it going. Our university is not giving back. I want to emphasize that I'm tired. I am tired to going to Kathy, going to administration, going to who say are our leaders, and getting nothing back. I'm here trying my best to bring this university what it deserves. And it's just the respect, the investment, the appreciation, the uplifting of our students that deserve it because they fight for it, they work for it, they live for it. I cannot continue in good faith, go up to administration and keep on a false reality that I believe that they are helping us. In the end of the day, this NU system is moving in a scary direction.
Senator John,
Done.
to how many minutes?
30 more minutes.
30 more minutes. Is there a second to extend open forum for 30 minutes? Senator Valadares, now we're on to a period of discussion. Senator Hirschbaum Harding.
I really want to hear what we have to say, but I am really concerned that we're going to start running out of steam by the time we get to the action step. 30 minutes, it would total us at, well over an hour and a half. And I am a little bit concerned about the fact that the actual resolution about us talking about specifically calling for this resignation and addressing it is pretty far down the line. And my only concern is that with an additional 30 minutes, by the time we get to it, we're going to be exhausted enough that we're not going to honor it and give it the time and discussion that it deserves on our floor.
Senator John.
Point of information, I know we approved the agenda earlier, but can we motion to move that up further on the agenda?
Since the agenda has been approved, the solution is to make a motion to reconsider. For voting is a majority vote.
So if you voted yes to approve the agenda, you can say motion to reconsider and then it'll go up for vote. So a majority needs to agree to reconsider and then the agenda can be amended.
Senator Benitez.
I just think we should
Senator
keep in mind, like how many people are still in line right now.
I feel like as we go a lot more, which is good, but I feel like a lot of people want to get their car.
Senator Lopez.
Yeah, can we just motion to reconsider or, move it on, those suggestions? I want to hear what everybody else has to say.
Senator Lopez has made a motion for 15 minutes or motion to reconsider.
The reconsider one, whichever one moves it up, so we can talk about it.
Hold up, we're still in the motion. Yeah. We can't, I don't think, can we?
So are we on the?
Prevent the motion with another motion for reconsideration, or do we need to finish this motion before we?
gotta finish this
Okay.
first.
So the motion is to extend open forum for 15 minutes. 30 minutes. Motion to.
No, we were just, we were just clarifying that currently it's at 30 minutes.
Is there discussion on the motion to extend open forum for 30 minutes? Senator Hirschbaum Harding.
I motion to amend the motion to
Yeah.
15 minutes.
For 15 minutes.
20, never mind, I just the.
20 minutes. Does it need to be seconded to make amendment?
The second To amend
To
the
amend
motion,
the
yeah, I believe it has to be seconded.
Senator Piper. Seconding the motion to allow, to amend the motion to extend open forum for 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
And we're voting on whether or not we think 20 minutes is the right number.
Is there any
Correct.
discussion for a motion to extend open forum for 20 minutes? Oh, Director Lacey?
How many more people are wanting to speak tonight that are not in line? Is everyone that has spoken,
One more person.
one other person? Would you just get in line so then that way, like, we can, just know, like, if you're able to stand in line, I should say that. Then that way we can kind of gauge how many people. Thanks for sure. Okay.
We are on to this discussion for the motion to extend open forum for 20 minutes. Is there any more discussion for it before we go to a period of voting? Alright. For all those in favor to extend open forum for 20 minutes. please-
Point of
please
information.
say, yeah.
This is to amend the motion to be 20 minutes, not to extend it to 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. So the amendment to amend the motion to 20 minutes rather than 30 minutes. Now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And then all those opposed, please say nay. The motion has been amended. And then now we're on to the discussion for the motion to extend open forum for 20 minutes. Is there any discussion? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Then all those opposed say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the motion has been adopted.
Sorry.
Oh, Senator John.
Could we now do that motion to reconsider amending the agenda to move up that? Yes, but it might take a question. And we're just like asking to like move up. Yeah, the confidence vote.
The confidence, so there's a motion to reconsider to
Like
to alter the agenda.
Yeah.
To add the resolution.
Until after open forum finishes before doing this.
Go ahead. Is there any discussion before we start open forum? For 20 minutes.
Thank you.
To finish off, I do want to say to all the regions that are up there in the region board, don't get it wrong. I see what you're doing. I see how the NU system's moving. We are moving in a direction to go anti-student communities, not only minority communities, but then we go up for all student communities. You guys want to move into a more commuter college system. Colleges like UNO, UNL, and all of the colleges under the NU system were built for students. They were not only built for education. They were built for students to live, grow as people, meet people, build community, find themselves, build themselves, because college is not only about being a professional, it's also about being a person. In the end, I see how this NU system's moving and I'm scared. But I'm gonna keep my best to keep fighting for our students, our DIA departments that fight so hard to keep the student life going. To end it all, I wanna say, I appreciate all of you that came here today. I love all of our students here at UNO and in our new system. And I hope that in the future, we can speak about more bright news and that UNO has changed for students and not for administration.
Is it green? Press it one more time.
Hello? Okay. I'm Shreya Shopkoda. I am the Assistant Director of the UNO Women and Gender Equity Center, and I am speaking on behalf of former student regent Hakeem Latoro. Hello, my name is Hakeem Latoro. I am a fourth-year arts and sciences student and former president of the student body. I want to begin by apologizing for not being able to deliver this message in person tonight, as I'm in the middle of addressing a family emergency. However, I do stand by every word said and would be happy to elaborate during the next meeting or answer any questions through my school email. During the past year, I represented students before our administrators. This put me in a position to hear firsthand a wide range of concerns students hope to have heard and I hope to have communicated. Students, especially in student orgs, would routinely voice their fears and their lack of address. During the spring, I heard the concerns of students on our new dining services partner, Sodexo. I heard students explain in great detail how the move signaled a shift away from protecting marginalized students. We even saw the largest protested proposal in inviting a bigoted restaurant to vend go through with zero pushback from the dean and administrators. During the fall, different students echoed these concerns as they found a major source of their organization's funding uprooted. Bake sales became functionally banned on campus, while a great deal of the planning for Hispanic Heritage Month was uprooted with no discernible reason. Even seeking to learn more, the cause for these great changes was met with the full weight of the Division of Student Life and Well-Being's pressure campaign. Sure enough, during the winter, even with the great stress of finals approaching, I heard more concerns. I heard students express great fear for the future, as the string of firings of the weeks past painted a disturbing, now realized picture. The support structures of these organizations were being removed to allow their dismantling or collapse with time. Through hours upon hours of meeting, these concerns were communicated and yet went unaddressed, to the degree that we find ourselves discussing the conclusion of many of them through the malicious and erroneously grounded defunding of the student agencies. We find ourselves in this position today as a result of a top-down policy based in reactionary fear. Time after time again, Dean Pettit reaffirmed the university's mission to preempt reactionary legislation with reactionary policy of its own, abandoning students for evidently nothing. Our Dean of Students has led the charge to dismantle student resources before the state legislature has even had a chance. If there is any lasting idea I can impress upon the student government, please let it be this. The position of the Dean of Students is functionally vacant, when students can expect repudiation well before support. The position of the Dean of Students is functionally vacant when students do not trust their dean. It is a hole to see through a new Dean of Students. For this and a number of other reasons, I, Hakeem Latoro, call upon the Dean of Students, Kathy Pettit, to resign, to allow someone more willing to fight for our students.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jess. I'm the current director of the Women and Gender Equity Center, and I'm going to use my time today to remind you all of how old some of these organizations are. The work that agencies do and represent has been here for over 50 years. Hundreds of students have worked within these agencies, and tens of thousands of students have benefited from them in the last 50 years. The work that's been done for over 5 decades and the number of students who have benefited is a testament enough to the necessity of the agency's work. Without the agencies, there's a gaping hole in the services for these marginalized identities. With the GSRC gone, what other support is there for students other than the WGC and QTS? We provide this support now with our existence in jeopardy, and there's no other equivalent safe space currently. The WGC is on the strike as an extreme measure for the university and the division to recognize that we should not be taken for granted. The WGC is tired of the division taking credit for our services. We are fighting tooth and nail to keep organization because we owe it to our elders who fought for a right to exist to fight to remain here. We can't fall into despair, and we can't let their hard work go into vain. We owe it to the students who fought for our existence to fight just as hard to continue to exist. Anything less than that is a disgrace to the existence of the marginalized groups that these agencies represent. To allow this war against DEI to rampage throughout our university is a disservice to the people who have died for the freedom of the identities we represent. A few weeks ago, I got up here and I called for Kathy's resignation, and I reaffirmed this call. Kathy is a white woman who could not possibly understand what it's like to be a student under her oppression. When I first called for her resignation, she said that this is not about her. It is absolutely about her. She called for the audit. When she did that, she was looking to harm our work, and she's achieving that. As a reminder, she is the sole person who has taken responsibility for dissolving the Gender and Sexuality Center. She got up here a couple weeks ago, and she said that she was the sole person for doing that. We cannot put it past the person who would dissolve the center to attack student-ran DEI offices. This is an evil person doing evil things. And to the Student Senate, I say this: enough with diplomacy. Let's stand united and call it like it is. Administrators are not your friends. They don't care about you. They don't care about the relationships that you have with them. Those relationships are fictional. They care about the money that you represent. And that's what this is about. But together, we can make a statement. We can hear the voices of over 1,000 people and better our community by ridding ourselves of malicious people like Kathy Pettit.
I'm Allison. I'm just a regular student here. I wanted to start off by saying I really appreciate how much senators and everyone here wants to hear what every single person has to say, and that really means a lot. So thank you. I mean, I'm probably gonna be talking about some of the things that have already been said, so I'll try to keep it short, but this claim that these student agencies don't serve a broad base of students is incorrect. And I know this because I've been to the American Multicultural Center. I've been to their events, and I've seen a broad variety of students there. I'm a triplet. I have a brother and a sister who both go here as well, and recently we needed to change our last names. We had no clue how to do this, but I knew that Queer and Trans Services would definitely know where to go with that. So we went to them, and I'm queer, I have a disability, I am white, and I'm a woman. My sister is cisgender, straight, white woman. My brother is a cisgender, straight, white man. Queer and Trans Services served all of us. Admittedly, we are not as diverse as everybody here, but that's still, I believe, a broad variety of people. It's wrong to say that these services don't support everybody, because they do. Kathy Pettit, her logic is not sound. It does not make sense. I agree with Carlos because he said to be a leader means to stand on what you believe, to stand on the decisions you make, the things you truly believe, and fight for them. It also means being here to serve the community you are meant to serve as your job. And Kathy Pettit could find neither the time or the effort to spend an hour, half an hour, 10 minutes to be here and do that exact job here tonight in person. She couldn't do it. And so me and everybody else here wants Kathy Pettit to resign because she is not doing her job. She needs to resign so someone else has the chance to do this job and be better. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Wen. This time last year, I was applying to colleges, and I can think off the top of my head 3 different times and places that I was told that UNO was voted the #1 most LGBTQ friendly college in the state. It feels a little bit like false advertising. When I got here and I had my my college orientation, I was told, welcome to the C family. Make sure you get involved on campus. There's so much to do. You know, people from the other colleges, people from UNL, they transfer here because it's almost like a liberal arts college. The admin care about you. I don't know what demons they have crawling around UNL as administration, but this is the best. This is the best in the state. We can do better. No, I did get involved on campus. Every week that I can make it, I sit right there with my little notebook that has my cat taped on the front, and I take notes on every Senate meeting. And then I go home and my roommates and all of my friends are like, okay, so when, what's happening? What's happening on campus? What's going on? It's not good news. It is a weekly discussion. If as the FAFSA opens, what other colleges should we include on there? Yeah, no, some of my roommates are from Wayne, and they're like, I came here because I knew that this big city college with this diverse urban population, I knew they would be friendlier, they would be kinder, they would have more support for me than Wayne does. Yeah, they're thinking transferring back. Dean Kathy is costing students. She is losing students that are here now. She's turning them away, and she is turning away students who might be here next year. People I know are applying to colleges, and I'm like, you know what? All those little colleges that you thought were going to be horrifying, don't be shy. Put in an application there. I think it'll be good for you. Yeah. That's bad. That's kind of bad, personally. Like we could do better here.
Hi all, I'm Joe, and I'm coming here tonight as just a cis white guy. In many ways, I'm the majority that all these defundings are supposedly benefiting. That somehow by taking money away from these groups that aren't as populous as I, it's helping me. Because I personally haven't been able to take advantage of these communities that exist for people who are different than I, that means that since I'm being excluded by them, and it's a bad thing that I am not being tailored to in the same way that other people are. But I'm here to argue that that's simply not the case. The thing is, I don't exist in a bubble. People like me don't exist in a bubble. My best friend is trans. I am friends with women. I talk with women every day. And so to say that these policies, by getting rid of organizations that I personally am not a part of or don't appeal to me personally, helps me, ignores the fact that I know people who are benefited by them. And the thing is, it helps my life tremendously when the people I'm closest to have a safe space, when they have somewhere they can go, when they have people in their lives that understand their struggles in a way that I can't. And the thing is, by getting rid of them, you're just hurting me also. You're not helping anyone. I would much rather this money go to people like them who really need it, towards my best friends who need these places, than towards throwing, like, what else are we going to do with the money that everyone, the majority, throw more parties that we all get to go to, have more productions where everyone's invited? No, this money is crucial. I've talked to many people who have taken advantage of the services, some of my best friends. And personally, I also feel hurt by these changes. I feel like I don't know what to tell them when they talk to me about their struggles. Before, there were places that if I felt like I wasn't in the emotional space to be able to help them the best to get them the help that they need, I could point them towards places like queer and trans services where they can get the help that they need. But if those places are going away, I don't know what to do anymore. So these changes aren't for me. They're not for anyone. And I really would like them to stop pretending like they are for everyone, like they are for the broad base, because they're not.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nate Johnson. I am speaking both as a current graduate student and also as a former senator and chief of staff for student government. I obviously support the call for Kathy's resignation because everyone should. So I have been around UNO since 2016, and I remember explicitly in my first semester people being like, okay, you got to watch out for Kathy Pettit. I was like, who's Kathy Pettit? Like, why do I need to know this? And as I got more involved on campus and student organizations and later in student government, it became more and more obvious why. Because almost everyone I know who's worked for UNO or who's been involved in student leadership at UNO has had a negative experience with Kathy. And that is really telling that we have had her for this long. She's worked at the university for 20 some years and keeps moving up and up and up. And it really feels isolating and alienating as a student to see people like that who have worked at the university and harmed students getting rewarded for that. And we've had administrators who have realized that, maybe if I don't care about students, the university is not the place for me to be working, and they've moved on. And that has not been the case with Kathy. So I think that it is also important to realize that Kathy has not started to come out for agencies out of nowhere. This has been a trend of hers for a long time. There was talk about how to restrict agencies when I was chief of staff. And I spent about half of my term there just trying to run interference so that she couldn't defund agencies, so that she couldn't say that they were banned from doing things, and having explicit arguments about very clear definitions about like the difference between partisan and political and advocacy and other activities that are explicitly allowed. And advocacy is a part of the founding principles of agencies per SGA documents. So this audit was artificially initiated, and if the audit wasn't what happened, there was going to be something else, because she's trying to it feels like she's trying to capitalize on this moment and do something that feels like she's wanted to do for years. So parts of it feel like ideological, parts of it feel like a personal vendetta against students like Zoe who've spoken out and brought up the fact that there's a lot of bullshit going on at the university, and that students as part of the heart and soul of the university, the 15,000 of the 18,000 or so people affiliated with the University of Nebraska at Omaha should have a say in how this place operates. So we've seen Kathy gaslight, we've seen Kathy lie, we've seen Kathy threaten students. There's people who've dropped out of UNO because of Kathy. And I just don't understand how she's able to continue coming to work every day and doing what she does to students. And I think that it is important that she resigns. I'd rather she be fired. But I think that fundamentally, what we have to do as students and student government is figure out, okay, this is one barrier. What are we going to do for the rest of this? How are we going to ensure that students and agencies, and more importantly, the students that agencies serve, are able to receive support and resources from the university? So whether that is, defining broad base through a resolution or a ballot initiative, whether that is partnering to get with organizations and spending the money out of UNO student government accounts as opposed to agency accounts, there are workarounds. And I think it just is a matter of how creative we can be with policy and making sure that we don't just give in and lie down and take what they want us to have as the way that they want it. So thank you.
Okay, I promise I have an actual motion. I do want to just start by thanking everybody who's here today who isn't one of the required members who's here today so sincerely. I hope you'll stick around for the rest of the action, but even if you leave now, I am so sincerely grateful for the fact that you care enough about what is happening here that you have spent the last 2 hours of your Thursday night making yourselves heard. That's what we do it for. And I'm so proud and I'm so grateful. And I think that this is supposed to be the spirit of our university. And I'm glad that it's happening in a room that I get to be in. Just a little background information. If we say move to groove in a Senate meeting, that means we're taking a break. So I am motioning to move to groove for the next 9 minutes.
Senator Brady,
Second it.
seconded by Senator Brady.
Yippee.
Now we're on to period discussion. If there's no period discussion, now we're on to period of voting. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, move to groove has been adopted for 9 minutes. Oh, really? Thank you so much. Please let me know.
Not know about it at all.
Thank you. It's so funny, different variety of points, like they did everything. The queer white often, all the different queer. Oh my God, like so much crazy shit.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. All right. Okay. Do you want to tell you any agency if I do, I can just go to like take it.
I'm so glad I'll actually spoke. I know, I was worried that I would get to but I do like, That's why I'm like, not when the day no, why not? Yeah. Are you gonna say? I'm gonna say.
I was gonna be.
That was so good, and I have thank you. I have friends who go on tomorrow. Dude, I'm meeting with
And then we see you.
it's like you're not like Mondo and
Just like starting not to I think I excited.
come on up there. They have no doing kids running around and the so you know so yeah. Yeah, I mean, and like the photos, like that like was so impressive. No, like, it was so nice. Yeah, I understand that. I feel like it's a little helpful for me, where like I know, I like
Students that come from me, not only for us, human, so what's gonna change? What can I say? You know, it's just hard. No, I feel like there's like, this is actually, this is not about the songs. These are not percent things. About people that invested in a lot of things.
So it was actually. She didn't pay. So she asked me to. Yeah, she asked me to give it to everyone. I honestly didn't.
You get to your report and you're like, we're just putting.
But that's what I'll say this. Exactly why. Because this is what it's all about. Even though it's hard. Sorry.
Is it wrong for me to want a personal privilege and just request that everyone be fast if their reports? Right now, I'm not. Like just.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been doing it longer.
I'll say this, it's here, I think so. That's why. But I tell them not. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, like I said, so it's an egg, it's like, I'm yes, but excited for the because I think I'm excited for I'm excited, I'm gonna be here. And I'm. If we highlighted leaders of right there. I'm gonna spend a change, big change. And it's overall, it's like, it's like an hour.
We've been in PRC doing fact maybe 2 separate days, we have to be considered. So I will motion to reconsider.
Are you moving into
Oh, new business.
No, I didn't, I couldn't, then I didn't go. But the thing is, here they. I guess I'm in.
Yeah.
Oh, we're missing. Oh, just. Yeah, you haven't been here. You need to like, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
That is.
No, Chancellor, yeah, it's the only one that I haven't met. I remember that. Why is he never? That's not the same. Bro. Regardless of whatever, when I meet, that's not cool. I mean, that's not white. And I get it. White. White. Every son of a dog. I've been to our offices. Yeah, I know she hears everything about us. Check it right now. I believe probably maybe that's yes, we nothing. Yes, no, he just got an account. Whatever, check your phone. Your phone. Give me a minute.
I've been at a board.
Time to be at a 10.
It's time to be at a Friday.
This meeting is a 10 meeting.
We're gonna be in the same Spanish community.
Which did I see around? I'm gonna say like I think I'm looking to say like I need to set up. Yeah,
All right, we've got the plan worked out, guys. I know exactly what I'm doing. Too bad, yeah.
All good. Now we're back in session. I would like Director to explain what's going to be happening.
To my understanding of Robert's rules and to the credible sources I've been looking up, There are about 2 ways we can do this to change that previously made agenda. To my understanding, you should just be able to amend it straight through with, here, I'll read from the website, the lady said she was has been doing this for years, so I believe her. So I didn't think I was gonna have to speak today. The easiest way to change your mind is to amend something previously adopted. A member proposes to amend motion X by amendment Y. This requires the standard steps to process a motion. These are the 3 ways the motion can pass: with a 2/3 majority, with previous advance notice, and a majority vote with a majority of the entire body. One interesting point that is in small board up to 12 people, it is may be easier to obtain a majority of the entire body than obtaining 2/3 and then yada yada. So to my understanding, someone should just have to motion, but there was also another way brought to my attention where it would be a motion to reconsider, a motion to amend, and then the motion to put it all to rest. Personally, I will take both ways as good and just in my eyes, but you can do what way you want.
Point of information, we also have more than one amendment that wants to be made, so it is easier to reconsider the whole thing.
Couldn't
So-
you didn't you just amend both parts?
I don't know,
the
they told
same?
me we have to reconsider it if it's an agenda, because it's different than a standard motion. So on that note, I motion to reconsider the agenda.
Motion to reconsider the agenda. Is there a second to reconsider the agenda? Senator Jimenez Avalos seconded. Now we're on to a period of discussion. Please reconsider the agenda.
Just another point of clarification, reconsidering the agenda means that we're just reopening it like it's the start of the meeting again. We can make all the amendments we need to make, and then we just vote again on the agenda, and then it's done and it's set.
Oh no, okay. Now we're on to a period of voting to reconsider the agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And then all those opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the agenda has been reconsidered. Okay, Senator Hirschbaum Harding.
I motion to, oh, that was louder than I meant for it to be. I motion to move all of new business to the top of unfinished things, so it's going to go above reports.
Above reports. Is there a second for that motion? Senator John. A second. Now we're on to a period of voting. Oh wait, now we're on to a period of discussion on the motion. If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the motion has been carried. So, Senator Norby,
I motion to table SR 2425-015 to my resolution to the following Senate meeting.
there's a motion to table the resolution. Senator El Roxy. Now there's a second. Now we're on to a period of discussion on the motion to table supporting the student senate, attendance policy revision. If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the supporting the student senate attendance policy revision has been tabled. Okay. Is there any further discussion on the agenda before we adopt the agenda?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second to approve the agenda? Senator Brady? Second. Now we're on to a period of discussion to approve the agenda. If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the agenda has been adopted. Okay. Oh, and then in the opinion of the chair, open forum has closed. Yeah.
It got ran out time.
Oh, I did. Okay. Okay, so now on our next item of business is new business. we have the SR 2425-013 confidence vote on Dean of Students. Is there a proponent speech for the resolution?
Yeah, there is.
Awesome. Here is the resolution.
You have my phone over here.
Okay, hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here tonight. I have kind of a lot to say, but also not a lot to say. Because I think a lot of things have been said already. And a lot of the concerns which have kind of been elevated to me over the years and that I've encountered throughout my time here at UNL have been addressed in part, but I would like to talk some about just the process of writing this resolution. Writing this resolution was kind of like pulling teeth. The last week, I really kind of sat around my apartment. And I was like, I really need to kind of write this. But every time I started writing it, I was like, wait, no, I want to include this thing, or I should do this thing instead. And it became this problem where I was like, how do I encapsulate what sort of happened here? Because what there really is there may not be that one big instance that breaks through to administrators in kind of a traditional sense that this is a terrible mistake and we need to get rid of this person. But instead what we have is we have these repeated instances of microaggressions and just small infractions and really bad decisions for the student body that have happened repeatedly over a long period of time. And that's really what I tried to display through this resolution. It roughly goes kind of chronologically, although it's not inclusive of everything. And I hope I'd stated it, at least in one version of the draft, it was in there that I was aiming to be, cover a wide variety, but not necessarily being inclusive. Kind of like if you think about how a definition of broad base should work, where it's, it's inclusive and it covers a wide variety of things, but it may not touch on literally every single thing. So going through this, I go roughly chronologically, concluding with the most recent audit saga. I would just kind of like to touch on, I suppose, some of the impacts that have been felt concretely by this audit, where one of the things that has just been of the highest concern, I think, from a administrative perspective throughout this entire process has not been how do we restore these services to students really quickly? How do we, mitigate this, and how do we earn people's trust back? It was instead optics. It was, how do we prevent this spiraling out of control for the university? How do we stop this? How can we prevent students from being angry and those things? But the solutions that all came up with were messaging. It was demeaning, saying that there's misinformation flying around, doing these things, and frankly being mad at us for being upset. And I think that it's really important to note, and this is something that I think former SGA, like if you've been in this position, maybe Nate could speak to this, or other past regents, Hakeem, Tori, and others, is that when you're in this position as student government kind of execs in those meetings, they put a lot of pressure on you to do certain things, to really try to make you see the world in a way that's maybe not reflective of what is being felt and being experienced. So I want to say thank you all for kind of coming here and being a really grounding sort of force, where you're speaking to what the felt impact is and how people are seeing everything. So with that, I mean, there are 3 therefore be it resolves on this resolution. First one saying that we no longer have confidence in the leadership of the Division of Student Life and Wellbeing, and that we're calling for the resignation of Kathy Pettit from the University of Nebraska. Second, that a hard copy of this petition, which we have down here, be delivered to Chancellor Lee. And the third one is that any future search committee be made up at least half of students with ideally there being at least one representative from each college, from SGA. Now, I know that solution's not perfect. In the past, there have even been search committees that, the committee all votes one way and very clearly has an answer, and then a different candidate is gone with. So if, there are ideas for how to make this a stronger system that we can have student voices heard, don't doubt yourself, go for it. Aside from that, I really would like to open it up to questions because I think a lot of what needs to be said has already been said. Thank you. Yeah.
Now we're on to a period of questions.
Yeah, Senator Calderon Palacios.
I just have a question about where it states where there being at least one representative from each college as appointed by SGA. Would it be SGA representatives or the general student body or both, or where do you see that going?
I could see it as being a combination. Whereas if there are senators who wish to participate, but also, so I think ideally it should actually be a combination where it should not be exclusively just SGA and it should not be just exclusively like non-SGA, just because from a like recruiting pool perspective and making it a feasible proposal, us like people can be, it's like there's an availability and there's that little bit of, crazy, not to put it a different way, but like there's a willingness to engage on a lot of these meetings and sitting through them from us. And so I'd like to see it to be a mix. Yeah, Senator Lopez. Sorry, I was about to say Senator Fernando. Senator Lopez.
Yeah, so I think the first two resolves, they're like, pretty straightforward, but how exactly are you going to implement the third one? Like, is that something you're going to work with like administration? Because let's just say that Kathy resigns. How exactly are you going to put forth that third step, I guess?
I mean, it would be, a let, and, and we're asking for it. And if it doesn't happen throughout that process, then you will see that pattern once again continuing of students not being listened to. And I think as we've kind of seen today that we have the power to escalate and we have the power to make our voices heard. And I think we can really kind of continue that process if the university decides not to be good partners on that front.
With that, when you said escalation, like, do you have anything in mind? Because I would want to be careful about that, just because I think the university is obviously going in a pretty harmful direction with the way they're treating everything. But I think if we, like, SGA or really any organization were to show like even more escalation further, it could potentially even like it could speed up the process of like just anything else harmful that they want to do to students as a whole, or like organizations or even SGA.
No, I mean, I think that you're right. The resolutions, that therefore be it resolved clause is largely aspirational towards how something should be, where we should be included in these conversations like that. And, escalation, like maybe not the best choice of words to describe the sort of response to that, sort of effort when I think our main priority really should just be trying to preserve the betterment of the of the student body and looking out for the student body's best interest.
The only other thing I am kind of concerned about is that the whole resolution, it kind of feels like I'm a little bit like iffy on this, because like after all the like testimonies that happened today, like it's pretty understandable, but it could be seen more as like a scapegoat, like putting like frustrations out on just one person. So I'm kind of concerned about that as a whole. So I don't know if you could really say anything on that. It's not really a question, but
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's not necessarily a stop, like that, because that's really valid to say that everything that's happening in the world or at the university falls down onto a singular individual, I think can be a little bit reductionist, because that decision to, let's say, with auditing the agencies, that didn't happen with just Kathy deciding that. That comes because the chancellor says, go ahead and do this, because there's a trust of judgment there. It comes because we have a state legislature that they're afraid of, that there's university, that there's pressure being put down onto. And so it is a larger ecosystem that I think that we really do need to address it and come down to it. So what I would say is that it would be important that this isn't the stop of it. Whereas if we were to pass this and do this, and then suddenly go home and suddenly stop caring and be like, okay, hey, we won, everything's over now, that would be a mistake and a failure on all parts.
Sorry, I keep talking, but so I did see like the whole like signature stuff. I saw a few of them were like, people of like varying organizations and stuff. And I think they are like current ones, and there were also like former ones. Is there really anything in place to kind of like, I guess put some form of like protection? Because, like you said, sometimes it feels like the university is kind of putting a target on some people's backs. So at this point, are those people like ready for that? Like, in case that, seemingly happens to them, I guess.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, as far as the petition goes, people signed on to it with the statement there. And no. And there's also a lot of us. And I think that if the university's response to receiving authentic student feedback is to clamp down and to individually target and punish students who are trying to make change on campus, I think we have a lot bigger problems on our hands. And I think that would be, I think that'd be just really disappointing. And worthy of a whole nother response and kind of a continuation. And also, I'm sorry, you all. It's been a really long week. I like, speaking can sometimes be a little bit difficult, especially 9:30 tonight. So I'm trying to give the attention that each of your questions deserve.
No, I get it. But yeah, that's all I really had to say. Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, okay. Senator Calderon Palacios.
My question is, if she were. If she were to resign, would there be an interim dean, or how would that process work?
I know someone would have to take on the responsibilities. So there would be an interim dean. Right now, I believe the interim dean or the assistant dean of students, the person right below it would be Trent Frederickson. So he would be the likely natural person to take over a lot of those responsibilities. And he's also, I think, the director of Dodge Housing.
Follow-up question, would he have to take over like all her responsibilities and like kind of have like the same powers she had?
I'll try to find out what that succession process would look like, but I don't know to a T what exactly would occur.
Is there any further questioning before we go on to a period of discussion on the resolution?
Oh, I did. Well, I didn't read this during discussion. I actually forgot to. I got a whole thing. I did want to go through this. This is not proponent speech. I did have what services are available and provided by the agencies right now, but I guess I could bring it up actually during discussion because I think we all to a degree understand. But I would like to read it or at least have that read during discussion just so it's on record.
Is there any further questioning? Awesome. Before we begin discussion, I do want to share a website with you all. So I will be sending it to on the email that I sent on the call email. So, yeah, that was something that I do want to share with you all. Now we're on to a period of discussion. Senator Hirschman Harding.
Wait. Hi, y'all. I will admit that this was a motion that took long, or a movement that took longer for me to get on board with. I think that I really sincerely, as someone who works in an educational setting, wanted to believe that Dean Pettit was coming from a place of love. And I think that she still might be, but to love something does not inherently mean that you understand it, and it certainly doesn't mean that you empower it. It pains me that I've been proven wrong, but I no longer believe that the dean's actions, wherever they might have come from, are demonstrative of stewardship of the student body. We have been left behind. This resolution is a way to acknowledge the place of pain that we are in as a student body, as a university system, as a state, and as a nation. It is our way to call out the behavior that, intentional or not, has turned harmful. This is the time for us to consider a fight in words and actions, in vowing to not let ourselves be harmed without repercussions. My best advice for us in this moment and beyond is that if you get to the end of a fight and things feel worse than when you started, you're not at the end.
Senator Benitez.
Okay. I feel like this resolution is very important, not just in terms of just telling Kathy that we're unhappy with her, mostly it just being a stepping stone for things in the future, especially with things how kind of the path the university is kind of going down. I feel it is very important to kind of make this like as a stepping stone into further resolutions, further protestations, movements, just to ensure that the university is hearing us and just starting to take us into account. I feel this past year especially, they kind of just keep forgetting about the students and the people that are actively coming here, paying, taking a time out of their days to, you know, come learn and enjoy. And I feel like the university is just kind of forgetting that. So even though this is a good resolution, just telling Kathy Pettit that we're unhappy with her and we want her to either leave or honestly just leave. But other than that, like this has to also kind of be a stepping stone into things further. This kind of can't just be a one-off thing and just kind of letting it be her. We must be able to, you know, keep protesting, keep making further resolutions to keep showing our unhappiness with administration and making sure that this fight against them isn't just stopping here with Kathy Pettit and it's going further beyond just UNO.
Senator Brady.
Kind of like off the same note of Senator Hirschbaum Harding. I try to give her the benefit of the doubt because I'm new to SGA. This is my first year being a senator. And so, I mean, I never heard a lot about her until I was put in this position. And so I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, try to come in with a clear mindset and very open-minded. When we were at the Senate meeting in regards to the dissolution of the GSRC, I asked a question in regards to how she was going to further inform students on the dissolution. That way they're more readily aware of the information that was presented during the summer because it happened during the summer. And so how was she going to go about that? She kind of was beating around the bush with the question and never really like concretely like answered it. And I think it was a couple weeks ago or a month or so ago, we had a little bit of a get together for the Math Mentor program. And some of the admin staff, including Kathy Pettit, was there. And I was like, you know what? I probably didn't start off on the wrong foot with her. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. I introduced myself. I went, hi, I'm Abby Brady. I know I probably didn't start off the wrong foot with the Student Senate and how it was a couple of months ago. But I just wanted to like introduce myself properly and so we could like start a good relationship. And she decided to respond with, I already know who you are. Very passive aggressively. And I was a little bit taken aback. I was kind of
I was kind of appalled, honestly, by the fact that she would kind of go about it in that strategy, knowing that I was in the position I am in terms of student senator and would not want to kind of burn bridges like that, even though she's already done that with a lot of the student organizations and a lot of people in student government. And so I honestly didn't know how to interpret that situation. I now it's just kind of like I have very, very mixed feelings about her. It's hard to come from a place of like what Senator Harding said. It's hard to come from a place of love when you're going about that with students and you're not going about it very let's say cordially or anything along those lines. And so I do say that like in this position that she's in, I do recommend that her either stepping down to a position of lower power or just resigning all in all would be better this student body and in order to kind of push forward the whole entire student body as a whole and kind of promote some development of sorts.
Senator Rye.
I will be honest, when this resolution was brought to me, I was a bit skeptical about the practicality of the resolution itself. But I understand and share the commitment to holding the Dean of Students accountable as oh my gosh, as it is important that our concerns are heard. However, calling for her resignation alone may not be the solution to the core issues we're facing, and a leadership change won't fix that by itself. Instead, I see this resolution about Kathy's resignation as the beginning, a step that signals the urgency of a broader conversation regarding DEIA. And I really, really, really think that we need to bring this before the Board of Regents during their open forum on December 6th. DEIA is just not a UNO issue. It's not a UNL issue. It's not a UNK or a UNMC issue. It is a whole state and universe and a national concern. And addressing it effectively is what will require engagement across decision makers who actually can shape the policy about the NU system. And I think this is our opportunity to ensure that they understand how essential DEIA is to our identities and our student experiences, and that they take an active role on making decisions that will affect not only us, but the future students of the NU system. And that's why I urge everyone who came out to speak today, and the senators and everyone who is watching right now, to go and support and bring this conversation to the Board of Regents themselves, because that is truly the most impactful way to create the change we're seeking.
Senator Lopez.
Sorry, I forget how to do this, but I want to give up my time to wellness coordinator. Sorry, Carlos. I'm just gonna say Carlos. Sorry.
Oh, Carlos, you can speak. Yeah, you can speak. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
But I love hats, I never.
yes.
But what I'll add is definitely a join. A lot of people want to say with Kathy, when the relationship began, she approached me. I was very much admired by her, and she said a lot of good comments about me, and she really hyped me up. And that's something that, even though I can appreciate, since the beginning that it started, I would be lying to myself if I didn't say that I didn't see the writing on the wall. In the end of the day, there was warning signs, even when I bring up that this university feels dead, and she couldn't give me a response back in spring, and we continue here, and I still don't have a response. In the end of the day, I will say that today, I did send an email today saying that I would love to see if she could change. I would love to not need to go through a whole process of finding a new dean of students that would fight for us, and I would prefer if she could fight for us right now. And I said that maybe I don't support that she would resign fully, but in the end of the day, after what I was told today, and the more I speak to people here today, and people that have been here in the past, my heart breaks. My heart breaks for our students. My heart breaks for the future of these upcoming months of this university, because I fear that when we talk about DEIA, our department is not going to be here for much longer if the regions get their way. I do believe this resolution, I think this is where we start to change and we start to go into a direction where we finally become the university that we should be, a university for students. So I do say that I'm proud to be one of the names in that list. And I'm proud that we're gonna move into a changing direction. It is time for us to become the university that we should be, that we're meant to be, and these students want to be. I would encourage all senators to please vote yes to this resolution. It is time for Chancellor Lee to see how we're feeling and the frustration that we're feeling and how we should have a voice in these type of decisions. Because UNO and Omaha is one of the most diverse, if not the most diverse university and area of the state. And our voices deserve to be heard, not only here at UNO, but in the NU level and in border regions.
Request for information. I know I should be the person that knows this. Do exec members also have speaking points then?
Exec members do have speaking.
Sweet,
speaking
thank you.
points. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Director Lacey?
I would just like, I was gonna talk about this in my report to you guys. I do want to say that I did have a meeting. First off, thank you everyone who decided to stay for the rest of this meeting. It really means a lot. It does, hearing your guys' testaments to everything you guys have endured, it does mean a lot. And I hope that we can, as senators and executive members, represent you guys fully. I know that it was difficult for some of you, maybe it was easy for some of you, but it's like sincerely, thank you so much. I was gonna talk about this in my director report. I do want to say I did have a one-on-one meeting with Kathy yesterday. I will say the intentions of the meeting were not focused on the audit, but of course that is kind of the hot topic right now on campus, especially when you're associating SGA with that. The conversation, of course, cannot speak for her past actions that other people might have endured with her. But I do want to say that she is ready to find results and find a solution for the agencies and for these essential programs. I do want to say that I don't know if the actions that her office took were the right way to make these solutions happen. So I think if SGA finds it necessary to have that proper pushback to show that we could have came to a solution without having to have an audit, I think that is important.
Is there any further discussion? Senator Calaton Palacios?
First off, everyone who signed their name on that, I congratulate all of you for using your voices and putting your name on there. Maybe for some people it was harder than others, but looking at these signatures, knowing that some of these are alumni, people from UNL, one of them was the director of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, which gives significant weight and importance of this issue that we're facing at UNO and at our all other campuses, because at the end of the day, this is a fight that we should be combating together because it's an issue that's affecting all of us collectively. And our shared commitment to justice and inclusion is not just about one campus or one department. It's about the community, Omaha community, the Lincoln community, or even just Nebraska in general. So at the end of the day, our strength comes from our unity. And if we unionize, we are stronger together. So I'm just going to encourage everyone to continue using their voices, even if UNO is not their home campus, because the changes we fight for will affect us all in the long run, with our future children, family members. So let's continue pushing for the betterment of our academic and work environment, because when we stand together, we have the power to make meaningful change. And adding on to what Senator Rai said, please come to the Board of Regents meeting on December 6th, Warner Hall, Lincoln, Nebraska. And if you would like to speak at open forum, remember to add a request. I think it's a week before if you want to speak at open forum so your voice can be heard, and making sure that the regents hear what you have to say and to say how about DI has affected your life.
Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Before we go to a period of voting? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. Okay. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution passes. Oh, okay. Our next item of business is the appointment for non-degree student Senator Dalton Meister? Meister? Meister. Okay.
That's okay.
Dalton Meister. Is there a proponent speech?
There is.
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. Can all of you hear me okay? It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm going to briefly pull up my speech, but before I begin, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody here, the senators, the members of the executive committee, as well as all of the students who are here today to talk about their concerns. I want to say first and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to listen, to hear the things that are on your hearts and on your minds, to be able to listen and be present for your pain, to be present for the goals and aspirations that you have for this space and this time here at UNO, and also to hear about the things that are passionate items of topic and discussion for each and every one of you as you come here with a variety of different concerns to share your voice, to make an impact, and to make sure that you have the opportunity to shape and form the experience that you have here as students. You are students here. You matter, despite what administration may do or say, despite the impacts their policies and decisions may have on your life. You deserve to be here. You belong here. And we hope that you will continue to stay and that we can do better to serve you.
Point of personal privilege, will you please speak up a little?
Sorry, I'm a little soft-spoken. So. Is this a little? Is this a little better? So. My name is Dalton Meister.
Oh, this is them. Is there another?
Break?
No, it died.
Just right here. Oh my God. Okay. Okay.
Here you go.
Is that a little better?
Yeah.
Okay. You mind if I go back through that first piece again, just to make sure everyone could hear it? Okay. So for all of those you here today, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the opportunity to share your voices, to come here to demonstrate your passion and compassion for the university that you are at, but also for the student experience and the lives that have been impacted by some of the recent decisions of administration, their policies and their procedures. Your voices matter. And regardless of the impact that has occurred, that does not mean you belong here any less. We want to make sure that as folks who are here to come into community together, as fellow students here at UNO, for any staff who are present, that we continue to do the best to make sure that we can be here together in community. And I just wanted to say that I appreciate the opportunity to listen to each of you tonight as you've shared your voices, your experiences, the pain, but also the promise that we have of working together to ensure that we can make a better experience for students tomorrow as we continue forward. I want to make sure that I'm mindful of all of these things should I have the opportunity to serve in student government
and I have a speech prepared here tonight, but I just wanted to make sure that I shared some of these sentiments as over the last couple of hours, I've had the opportunity to hear about the student experience in this time. And coming back to UNO more recently, I haven't had the opportunity to be present for many of the things you've described, but I'm hopeful that if accepted tonight to the Student Senate, that I could have the opportunity to make an impact. It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Dalton Meister, and my pronouns are he, him, his. I stand before you today to express my interest in serving on the Student Government Association at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, as I think it'd be an opportunity for me to serve my community as I return to UNO as an advocate. I have a bachelor's in the science of social work from UNO and a master's social work with specialization in interpersonal practice and integrated health, mental health, and substance use from the University of Michigan. I'm coming back to the University of Nebraska at Omaha to pursue additional courses in the neurosciences to learn more about brain, body, and behavior. I'm very interested in coming back to serve student government because I think it would be an opportunity to reconnect with my community while I'm here at UNO and continue service-mindedness that has really been a key characteristic of my life. I also practice in the community as a social worker and mental health provider at a regional hospital where I serve children and families. I have extensive experience in advanced practice, clinical research, and care of mental health to children and families. But my professional interests are mostly focused on utilizing that research and practice to bring about interpersonal, institutional, structural, and systemic change. The very kind of change that each of you have been describing tonight as you come before student government to speak about your concerns and the necessity of creating a better student experience for everyone on our campus, to make sure that each and every voice that presented tonight can be validated, heard, and integrated into that thread of the student experience, and that each one of those threads helps to weave that tapestry of how we'll continue to work together and form a student experience that's diverse, equitable, and inclusive, and accessible for everybody. As a student, much of my clinical and professional philosophy, as I've just described, informs how I approach the student experience. And in the past, student government's been a space where I could center these values and beliefs in my approach to participating in the Maverick community. During my initial time, I was a student senator for many years, while also serving on the executive council later on as I continued in my time. In each successive year, I continued to have the pleasure and honor of serving students and principally elevating their voices through my participation in the body. If selected for this role again, I'd hope to continue this tradition in my time here. Service is a cornerstone of my character and the way that I define my life and the focus that I take to each and everything I do. I'm hopeful that if selected to serve here, I could continue to make meaningful contributions to our shared experience in the Academy, not by advancing my own interests, but by being a member whose initial approach is focused on listening and learning, something I've had the opportunity to do here tonight over the last several hours that we've been present in this meeting. And for those of you, again, who have had the opportunity to share your concerns, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to listen. I'm hopeful that as I learn more about the student experience as it is in this time, coming back to UNO in a new context with new concerns to be conscious of, that I can be present for opportunities to make meaningful and profound collective change and action together with each of you, not just those who are serving here in the body, but students at large. As previously discussed in the past, student government has been a space where I could center my values and beliefs in my approach to participating in the Maverick community. I've been involved in a myriad of roles within student government and the institution in the past, with key involvement of establishment and services such as the Student Legal Services Office and the Turbo Vote program. I hope to conceptualize much of the current policy infrastructure that student government operates off of, such as the policy index, governing bylaws, and establishment of the Initial Rules Committee, and initial development of some of the financial policies and co-conceptualization of your current fusion model framework, which integrated the Executive Council more closely with the Senate to ensure collaboration and communication. I also had the opportunity to be present in stewardship of the organization and student organizations throughout the tenure of the COVID-19 pandemic, helping to advance initiatives like return of funds to students from housing deposits and return of rent that had previously been paid into Dodge campus housing to ensure that students could have those funds remunerated to help them financially persevere throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. I've also had the opportunity to serve in a plethora of committees, assignments, and task forces focused on student health and well-being.
The importance of these things is not the positions, but the opportunity that it would bring for me to share information from you of my own experiences with the institution, to empower you with additional information to continue to serve students in your roles. In these experiences, I became intimately familiar not only with the organization and its policies, that being student government, but the capacity that we have to serve as a vehicle for student empowerment and elevation of their voices in the different spaces we have access to. We are not necessarily the means, but the vehicle through which student change can possibly be affected, and to provide them an avenue to advance their concerns during their time here so that their voices can be heard and their experiences can be elevated. The systems and structures that we have here are complex. And as I reflect on my experiences, I think about how, due to my power position in education, things that I need to be conscious of throughout each and every action that I take, I've had the opportunity and privilege to use my experiences to advocate and positively advance a advanced experience that is present for everybody, not just for folks who share my identities, but for folks of any background, identity, and from a diverse range of experiences. Again, as so many have reflected on tonight, we want this to be a space, that being UNO, that each and every student who comes through our doors can feel comfortable, welcome, present in, that they can be accepted in, affirmed in, and advance their goals and aspirations, values and beliefs, worldviews in life towards a more dream-focused, goal-focused outcome for their life. Each and every one of us come through the doors each day with different goals and aspirations of where we want to go with the education that we're taking from this space. And it's our responsibility as the student government to continue to advance an experience that students can begin to access those things continually throughout their time here. To ensure that education remains student-centered in that way, equitably designed and accessibly structured, it often requires an intentional effort to ensure that the perspectives, values, and beliefs of students are integrated into the very fabric of how we approach the development of our institution, alongside an appreciation for the threads that comprise each student's past unique experiences. To achieve this goal is no small feat, especially as it requires a measure of humility, to know that there are limitations to what we do know, to reach out, to learn, and to listen to others. In our context, this approach looks like an understanding we may bear responsibility for a direct role as representatives of students in shaping the student experience. The contributions of students themselves remain no less important, and in fact are an absolutely invaluable element of our ability to weave this collective fabric together. As we continue to move forward, weaving that fabric will help to meet the needs, health, and overall well-being of our students collectively. One of the key focal points of that, and historically, has been our agencies, to advance the voices of students who historically have not had the opportunity to participate in the academy in equitable ways, and to ensure that it continues to be inclusive and accessible for them. Should I be selected to serve, I hope to use the totality of my formative experiences, those I gained during this journey, and those that will come forward as a framework to continue providing student-centered learning experiences at UNO. I'm hopeful that in the coming years, I will become a more well-rounded member of the student community, and that I can have the opportunity to learn more about how I can be present for those I may serve, ideally in a manner that centers them, advances equity, and remains inclusive throughout my time. A prolific scholar once said, many times trauma decontextualized over time can look like personality or behavior. Trauma decontextualized in a family over time can look like traits, and trauma decontextualized in a people over time can look like culture. And so it takes time to slow down so you can begin to discern what's what. As we think about tonight, some of the collective trauma that's been described.
My
by the
apologies, point of order, that is 10 minutes.
Is there a motion to extend Dalton's proponent speech? Chief of Staff Ostick?
There's questioning afterwards, so you could just ask him what was in the rest of your proponent speech, and we don't have to do a vote.
Is there any discussion?
Guess, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dalton. Awesome. Now we're on to a period of questioning. Oh,
Would you be willing to finish your proponent speech?
Yeah.
well,
Noting that
well,
quote.
you have to make a motion to
add more time.
This could be.
No, this is a, specifically, this is a question for him to finish the rest of his speech, which follows the rules, but okay.
I'd be happy to. The rest of my speech went a little bit like this. I'll try and summarize it. So following from that quote on trauma, it's something tonight that we've witnessed in the statements that each of us have come before us to describe. The histories of institutional oppression, violence, and harm that have come from protocols and policies and procedures that at times, and in many cases systemically, have continued to minimize or marginalize student voices. Whether intentional or accidental, that's something I could never speak to. The impact they've had remains the same. Students came tonight to us to express pain, to express sorrow, to express feelings that they are not being heard, their values, beliefs, and student experience is not being elevated. And that's something that we need to take very significantly if we are to continue to represent students in this organization. And if selected for this role, I believe that using the skills, strengths, and abilities I've described, I think it would help to enhance our shared efforts to conceptualize and operationalize our resources as we seek solutions to the modern questions of the student experience and try to co-create projects, responses, as many of you have described in your questions tonight and also in the speeches and projects that you've advanced to the modern student questions of the day. I believe that it's our prerogative to use the information we have available to us alongside continued inquiry to continue to adapt our responses to questions of the day, whether those questions be related to current policies or changes at the university, or whether they be related to questions that students bring directly to our attention. It's our responsibility to respond to those things in a manner that is student-centered. The student experiences and the questions that accompany it are a complex, nuanced, and dynamic and fluid entity, and so our work will never be done. But that does not mean we can't progress and continue to improve the lives of students on our campus. It's our responsibility to continue to do so, and I'm hopeful that I can join you in that journey if selected for student government. And that's a little bit about how the rest of my speech went, if you're wondering. Any additional questions? And thank you for the grace and patience as my speech went a little bit over time. Yes.
Is there any particular project or we kind of we're burning through it. Is there any particular project or initiative that you are eyeing or would like to see accomplished in your time potentially rejoining as a senator?
I hope this thing just died. Here, there's another one.
It died.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's great.
Can you hear me? Okay. As far as projects go, this one is not necessarily a SMART goal or directive, but I think as you've all noticed tonight, just speaking to the room, the conversations that we've had, the things that have come before the body this evening, rebuilding an opportunity to connect with students and rebuild that trust that has been lost through some of the recent times that student body has been through, that student government has experienced relating to recent policy changes and procedures that have impacted services that go direct to students is our responsibility and prerogative, I would believe. And that's just something that I would try and focus on in my initial time and coming back to student government, is ensuring that we are focused first and foremost on maintaining the trust and connection to students that helps us to be present and elevate their voices by being a place that they can come and share those voices. Tonight, you had dozens, if not doubles of dozens of students coming to speak to you about the concerns of the day. And I think that that is an opportunity. That's an opportunity to connect, an opportunity to listen, an opportunity to respond. And in that response, engaging in a way that's collaborative, connecting back to the student voices that shared their thoughts and feelings tonight, and ensuring that we take those voices seriously, that we're intentional about our response, that our response is centered around the students and the voices that were shared tonight, and that we try and use that information to help inform our approach to practice, that practice being representation of students and the development of services, projects, programs, and interventions to help support and enhance the student experience is absolutely essential. So my goal would be to hopefully be a voice that would elevate the voices shared tonight, to be a liaison to those who may not have representation in this space, and then to connect back with appropriate members of this group, as well as the leadership of student government in terms of the executive council, to implement actionable programs, responses, and interventions that could support advancement of those voices, rebuild that trust, and connect back to questions of the day.
Is there any further questioning? Now we're on to a period of discussion for the appointment for non-degree student senator Dalton Meister. Chief of Staff Ostick.
I'd like to yield my time to a member in the audience.
To who?
Nate Johnson.
I don't think he wanted that.
He's telling me really strongly before the meeting that he had really strong opinions.
Hey.
I think that should be your all's decision.
Leave other Nate out of this, Nate.
All right, I retract my.
Is there any discussion? Senator John?
I don't know Dalton, but just like speak on him talking about like studying social work. One of my roommates this year is actually a social work major as well. And I've learned like a lot about the social work field through her. And it's just been amazing to see how much of social work is about like serving people and not just like people who have immediate needs, but also just like serving whole communities. And I feel like his proponent speech really exemplified how much he cares about aiding in building up support in academic and social institutions. So just from that alone, I think he's very passionate and he would do a lot and be very like involved and engaged in student government and like being responsive to student needs, but also just like human need on campus.
Coordinator Irizarry Gums.
I'll just say quickly, Dalton, I got to speak to the pressure to speak to him before Senate today. And let's just say he's been here in the past and all the work he did for student government back then was very revolutionary. The reason why we're all here together, exec and senators together is because of him. The bylaws, how they are today is because of him. The United 4 law-abiding documents because of him. And yeah, I do think Dalton is important for our future and more in this time where we're going to be going through a lot of change and a lot of evolution. I think Dalton's just going to have a very good voice in this body going forward and the amount of change that we will need to do. And I think he's already been there. He's going to be, and I would like for him to be here again, because I do believe along with him, we can do very meaningful change.
Is there any further discussion on the appointment? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. Or all those, yeah, all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the appointment has passed. Elton, I do have your, Elton. I do have your, and then I'll get you your table tent soon once we have more supplies.
Don't say that's.
Alright, now we're on to appointment for the International Student Services Agency Director, Jose Estrada. He has sent me a video. My.
Kevin.
Yes.
Brian has something to say.
Oh, Senator Benitez?
Okay, first is Jose here.
No, he is not here, but he did send me a video, so I do want to share that. Okay. Hopefully. Okay. Since Jose is not here at the moment, if you guys have any questions, I can just send him an email and just respond to that. Now, since we do not have questioning, now we're on to a period of discussion. Is there any discussion on the appointment for Jose Estrada? Chief of Staff Ostick?
Could those who interviewed Jose kind of talk about that process a little bit? Just because though we don't have the question, like we could just get some of that perspective.
Director Nguyen?
ISS, the advisors interviewed him, but Kevin, Chloe, and I did meet with him a couple weeks ago, and he's someone that I think will bring a fresh perspective on ISS. A lot of the things that he brought to us, like connecting students from different cultures together. And also a big thing that I was really interested in was networking. I think that's especially important for international students when they come here, is to network as much as possible. I think it's really good that Jose brought that up, and that he also talked about having bring people on board to also promote ISS as well, because he did talk about the gaps in international students knowing about ISS. So I think Jose would be a good candidate. No, he would be a good ISS director to bring on board, especially since ISS has not had a director for a few months now. So it's really important that someone like Jose, who's very personable, someone who's very ready to take on this responsibility for international students.
Oh, Director Hammond.
Okay, so like Teresa mentioned, I was also involved in that interview process. And she kind of spoke about his like aspirations, a part of being or potentially becoming the director for ISS. As far as his leadership skills go, one of the things that I was super interested in that he sort of talked about, he's actually the owner of 3 businesses down in Mexico, and like he obviously lives here. So he kind of talked about his experience and running that while living up here, and just like the knowledge that he's learned from that. So I think aside from like his passion, I also think his leadership skills will lead him to do great things in this position.
Is there any further discussion?
Sorry, YouTubers, there's crazy weird technical difficulties happening right now.
Okay, so if there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting for the appointment for International Student Services Agency Director. All those in favor, please raise your placards. It's 15. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. And then is there anyone that likes to abstain? Okay. So in the opinion of the chair, Jose Estrada has been appointed for International Student Services Agency Director. Now we're
Kevin,
on
Brian.
Senator Benitez.
I have a motion to table SR 24-25-14 because the author isn't here.
The author isn't here. Okay. Is there a Regent Adidam?
Also, would it be possible to amend that motion to adjourn the meeting now? I feel like reports are there, we can read. If we have questions, definitely feel free to communicate with me, and Nate will be sending out a meeting, essentially talking about the audit process and what ongoing meetings are looking like.
Point of order, I
Is
think you
there-
should be able to adjourn it after that amendment.
So is there a motion to adjourn the meeting early?
I thought we are gonna table it and then adjourn it, but I don't think it matters anyway if they resubmit the bill.
Senator Meissner?
So motion to table all remaining business.
Motion to table all remaining business. Is there a second? Senator Jimenez Avalos? Now, there's no discussion. No.
Just vote on it.
Alright. Now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Senator Oh, no. So in the opinion of the chair, the motion has been adopted. And then now we're on to period adjourning. Senator Rangel.
I motion to adjourn this meeting.
Yes. Is there a second? Senator Hurt from Harding. Now, all those in favor say aye.
Hi.
All those opposed say nay.
Don't say nay.
The meeting has been adjourned.
Don't say nay. Never really like that. You don't get here till the end of the night. You know, take me home, country road, right? Like, yeah. Take me home, country road. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I was like, I couldn't go outside. You like my enthusiasm?
Bye, Mila.
Average 3.
See ya.